The April 28th City Council meeting is called to order. We have our invocation by Reverend Keith Stanley, pastor of Urban Ministries and president of Work Faith Birmingham, the church at Brook Highlands, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Thank you. Would you join me in prayer? O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. We join the psalmist in saying, your name is great and greatly to be praised. We give thanks to you, our Lord, for your grace, your mercy, your love toward each one of us. And we're thankful that your word says that your mercies are new every day. We realize our need for your mercy this day, individually and corporately as a city. We're thankful for your blessings. We're thankful for the way you've blessed this city. And you've granted to us even leaders that are a blessing to us. And we pray for the continual welfare of our city, that you would bless us in a way that every citizen, no matter what their background or circumstances they find themselves in, can also be blessed in that blessing. We know that your word teaches that all government authorities are to be honored, respected, and prayed for. So we do that this morning. We're grateful for the men and women who serve our community on the city council and their staffs. We're grateful for the mayor and his staff as well. And we pray for them. We pray that you would grant them wisdom and knowledge and understanding. We know that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding are from you. And as they make decisions about the best use of resources, as they deliberate proposals to benefit the city, we pray that you would help them make wise decisions for the betterment of all citizens in our city. And even as they represent their constituents well, we pray that you would help them to make decisions for all people. Pray that you would give them understanding of others' perspectives, understandings for the best solutions, understandings of how to bring justice and opportunity to all, and understanding about your will, which your word tells us is good, acceptable, and perfect. We pray that you would grant them ability and skills to be both efficient and effective. Pray that you grant them compassion they need for the least of those around us to help them move forward as well. We pray this morning, oh God, that you would grant them patience. Patience with one another, patience with different people from different viewpoints, patience with others' weaknesses, knowing that we all have them. Pray that you would grant them courage to do the right thing and to make the right choices for the betterment of all. And we pray that you would grant them unity of heart and mind as they seek solutions that will best help all citizens of the city. Help them to find that common ground amidst varying viewpoints, varying perspectives that benefit us all. Would you protect them and us from pride, selfishness, greed, and undue influence that keeps us from accomplishing your will? And would you bless them and protect their families as they spend time away from them serving our city? Would you grant them all the strength they need this day to live their lives and our lives in a way that pleases you and accomplishes the purposes you have for us before our days were even written in your book. And on this week, as we remember those that were affected 4 years ago through great loss from the tornadoes across our city and state, we ask that you would also extend comforting presence from your Spirit to them, that you would bless them with your peace and your provision as they move forward in life. We ask for all these things with great faith in your ability to hear and respond, and in the blessed name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Abbott. Councilmember Hoyt.
Present.
Councilmember Lundy. Councilmember Abbott.
Present.
Councilmember Lundy. Councilmember Parker. Morning. Councilmember Rafferty. President Pro Tem Roberson.
Good morning, Mr. Clerk.
Morning. Councilmember Scales.
Good morning.
Good morning. Councilmember Tyson. President Austin.
Present. Thank you. Do we have a motion on the minutes from January 27th and February 3rd?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'd like to move on the minutes.
Roberson, Parker.
Voting should be open.
It's on the approval of the minutes January 27th and February 3rd.
Councilmember Hoyt. That vote should be up, Mr. President,
All right,
and look like
That
we don't
item-
have color today.
passes. Those are all yes votes in favor of it. I marked all of those as abstentions, but it was all yes, unanimous for the minutes. The minutes are not ready from February 10th through April 21st. Communications from the mayor. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
This morning, we have a couple of young men here from our high school systems that are Gates recipients. They're Gates Millennium Scholars. Woodlawn High School recently learned that 2 of its students are now Gates Millennium Scholars. Jarrell Jordan is number 5 in his class and has been accepted by nearly 45 colleges. He's been offered more than $700,000 in academic scholarships. Jarrell is also set to receive a scholarship from the Kiwanis Club on today. The other Gates scholar is Trey R. Hawkins. He's number 1 in his class, and he's been offered nearly $1.5 million in academic scholarship. I repeat, $1.5 million in scholarships. These 2 young men are to be commended for their hard work and dedication that is truly paying off. I would like to call up both Jarrell and Trey, along with Interim Superintendent Dr. Spencer Horn and student teachers Vanessa Jones and Principal Jesse Daniel. If you all would please come forward. You know, I'm not supposed to be standing up here, but I wanted to come up to shake these 2 young men's hand. I had the opportunity of sitting down with this young man. How long ago did we meet? 3 weeks ago? You're talking about a sharp, intellectual fellow who understands who he is, where he's going, and how he's going to get there. And I'm just honored to stand here with he and Trey to recognize the outstanding work that they've done to become Gates Millennium Scholars. I know the superintendent is proud of these young men, but all of Birmingham and this entire metropolitan area should be proud, along with their principals and teachers who have given them so much to build upon, and we're just grateful to have them with us this morning. So I'll turn it over to the superintendent, Dr. Horn.
Thank you, Mayor. Board, Council President, Austin Council members, thank you very much for allowing us to be here. Again, more and more, I think we're getting out to the community that wonderful things are happening in Birmingham City Schools. Not only things are happening, but the people affected by it, Jarrell and Trey, they're great, but they're symptomatic of the things that are continuing to develop and continuing to grow in Birmingham. So we're just proud of them. We're proud of what they're doing and what they have done. We want to continue to support them as they move into their post-secondary career. And I want to say to the principal, Mr. Daniels, and to the, and I'm not going to call her teacher, because she's a lot more than that. Teacher is if you know what a teacher is, that covers a lot of ground. And that means a lot of depth of interaction with whomever. But Ms. Jones is way more than that. She and I met these young men about 3 years ago when they entered into the academies of Birmingham, specifically the Academy of Business and Finance at Woodlawn High School. And the development that she has had with these students and others there has been just extraordinary. So I want to thank her personally while we're up here. I want to thank Mr. Daniels, the principal, as well, and just say this is something wonderful for Birmingham City Schools to have these students represent us with the Gates Millennium Scholarship. Thank you very much.
Okay. Gentlemen? Yeah. Trey?
Hi, you all. My name is Trey Shaw Hawkins, and I just want to say it's a massive, massive privilege and a massive, massive blessing to receive such an award. And I want to say thanks to my whole community and to the city of Birmingham, because I wasn't raised by my immediate family alone. I was raised on the African proverb, like, it takes a village to raise a child. And without y'all and without God, I would be nothing. So I'm forever indebted to the city and to my community.
Thanks, Trey.
I would like to say good morning to the city council members, to Mayor William Bell, to the superintendent, my principal, Mr. Daniels, Ms. Jones, my grandmother right here. And I just want to say thank you to all of you, because this is not something that we did for ourselves. It's something that we did to motivate the community. Because many students, they say, well, great things don't come out of Birmingham, and great things don't come out of Birmingham City Schools, and great things don't come out of Woodlawn. But now they have something to look up to, because some students will say, well, I'll never go to Woodlawn, or I'll never go to Birmingham City Schools, but now they can say, I love to go to Birmingham City Schools, because that could be me one day. And in the academies of Birmingham, we're taught to do great things, and why would we be average when we can do great things? And it's just a quote I want to leave you with, and it's extraordinary people, or ordinary people that do a little extra. So we've done a little extra.
Councilor Parker. Councilor Parker.
I just wanted to say good morning to you all and congratulations to the great minds, and I want to thank the principal and also the superintendent, and also Daji Hendricks. Just wanted to simply say congratulations and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Councilor Scales.
Thank you. I want to thank the mayor for bringing up these two gentlemen. And so before I even get started with them, I do want to thank the principal as well. It takes a village. He said it just right. And I want to thank Dr. Horn for being so supportive of the students and then supportive of the principals. That makes a big difference, because if you don't have that, it's kind of hard to ignite and activate the community if the principals are not activated. And then that's going to come from the superintendent's office. If they're not doing what they need to do, then the morale is not there. So I want to tell you both how proud I am of you all, and for those two young men, if you don't mind. And I know that you work at the school board too. Of course, I just realized that this morning. So I want to thank you for the role that you have played to make that difference, because it's not going to just happen. It's going to have to be an intentional effort. For the two young men, if you don't mind to come up to the podium very quickly. I was telling them, Mr. Mayor, when I saw them out there in the audience, had a student at Huffman High School, and he won a scholarship that I was offering on a local level, but he got a Bill Gates scholarship. That young man right now, Jonathan, and Jonathan is going for his PhD. I'm able to live to see it. He should be coming out, as a matter of fact, this month, and graduated in urban education. And he said, Mama Scales, I want to come back and give back to the community just like you gave to us. So I'm so glad that you all got this opportunity, because considering the fact of what you see on the media today, you represent everything that we should be looking for in media. A rarity, but that's what makes it newsworthy. So congratulations, Grandmama. It always take one of us to stand behind her. And I just want to tell you how proud that I am. You have something to be proud for. So, Mr. Mayor, I just look forward to the opportunity that you continue on to spotlight these Birmingham City School students, because great things can come out of Birmingham City Schools if we make the investment. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mayor, thank you so much for bringing these young men forth today. To our interim superintendent, Dr. Horn, to our president of Birmingham Board of Education, Mr. Woodford, who's here. Also, we're just so happy to see our own do so well. To give the Bill Gates Scholarship is the hierarchy of any scholarship you get as a high school student, a high school senior. And you all did everything that was possible to make that happen for you. To hear the amount of dollars that you all are receiving to support your endeavors in higher education that the mayor read, 1.5 million, Trey, 700,000, Darrell, is tremendous. And I think that you all are true examples for the future of our city. I know that you all will do well in all your endeavors, and it's good to see so many people standing in support of your principal and others, your grandmother there in support. Now, I know Darrell called my office about 20 times, Mayor, for recommendation letters. And I know we wrote how many? But About 12. We wrote a lot of them. And I commend my staff for their support in doing that. Now, since you got $700,000 in scholarship fund, can a council member get a commission off a little bit of that? But, that is truly great and tremendous. We are proud of you all, very proud of you all. Continue to strive to be the best, and we'll keep you in our prayers in your future endeavors. Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem.
Councilor Hoyt?
Well, yes, let me thank you all, and certainly thank the mayor for bringing you this morning, and Dr. Horn, and Mr. Daniels, Ms. Young, and to this grandmother, and these parents of these young men. You know, one thing I do know, that where you are now is not happenstance. People have to be intentional in terms of pouring into you the value systems that you develop discipline with in your studies and the things that you do, because there are a lot of smart folk doing a lot of different things, but when you are doing the right thing, it's intentional. And so I just want you to know that we're very proud of you all, and you both are good men, so I would suspect that you would pledge Alpha Phi Alpha over Kappa Alpha Psi. So I know the mayor brought you, he's a Kappa, but you know, it's an Alpha who stands behind you, and there's an Alpha who stands on the side of you, the president of the Board of Education, and then we got two Alphas sitting up here on this dais. So you got Alphas all around you, even though you got on a red tie. That don't matter. You know, Alpha's about the inside, but you all are wonderful. I think you all are our best practices, and I'm like Councilor Robeson. You do need a manager of your educational fund. I'm available if you all need me, because somebody need to manage all that money, okay? But we're very proud of you all, and certainly to the teachers. You know, you all do the best job in this society, because whatever young people are going to be, it's going to be because some teacher instilled in them, as they did me and others on this dais. And so we appreciate all the teachers, because you do make a difference in this world. And we're just excited about what your future holds for you this morning. God bless all of you. And anybody, and Mr. Principal, thank you for keeping them intact, because it takes great leadership, even on the school level, because, you know, the Birmingham Board of Education has a practice that they take all this wonderful leadership and they bring it down to the Board of Education. But sometimes I think we need to incentivize great leadership at that level. You know, if you want to pay me where I'm making a difference. Because when you bring folk, you know, because they've done a great job, and you bring them down to, you know, central office, that really doesn't help the masses. And so, Mr. Horn, that's just a hint, because I've said this before. We need to incentivize great leadership at the school level, and I think that's what we do, because that's where the difference is being made. And we appreciate all of you this morning for coming and being a part of this celebration, because it is a celebration, and you are going to do wonderful in this life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Lastly, for all of the council members who are so proud of these two young men, do you mind sharing with them what colleges or universities that you plan to go to or have already been accepted to?
I'll be attending Morehouse College
All right.
in the fall.
And you, sir?
I'll be attending Howard University in the fall.
And so I've been watching. I wanted them to say that because I was watching UNCF, and as I cried for so many that was going through that process, if you watched it all, you know, over the weekend, it said a mind is a terrible thing to waste. However, if you invest in that mind, you become a star. And one of the students said, a gun in the hands of young black males is dangerous. But if you invest into the minds of, and I don't want to even dress it up, in the minds of black students, we become lethal. You're going to be lethal in life, and you're going to do great. So I wanted them to say that so everybody would know where you're going, because you could have taken that scholarship and gone to any university, but you decided to go to an HBCU. That too is to be applauded. Thank you again, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Council President, entire City Council, good morning, Mr. Mayor. Morning. Very briefly, on behalf of the board, I too want to commend these two young men. They have done an amazing job throughout their entire tenure as far as being K through 12 students in our school system. I think it's important to acknowledge the competition of this being awarded this scholarship. Only 1,000 are giving out across the entire United States of America, and 2 of our children received them. I think that should be acknowledged. And I think the other piece that should be acknowledged is Trey and Jarrell's family is here. And when we think about the burden of student loans, nobody ever talks about some of the loans the actual family and parents take out. The fact that they don't have to worry about any of that is a big deal, because so many of our families struggle to send their children to college, even in our school system. And so a portion of that is what we're talking about. The root of scholarships is work ethic. And to be commended that in our school system, work ethic exists, not just for these two gentlemen, but for all the 1,199 students that are actually graduating this school year. So I want to commend them too on behalf of the board, and I too want to thank the mayor and the entire city council for acknowledging them. And by the way, Ms. Gales talked about Jonathan coming back after his PhD. There's another young man, Jamarcus McCall, who was a sophomore at Morehouse, who was also a Gates Millennium Scholar. So we have a list of them going, and we look forward to having a minimum of 1 student recognized next year as well. Thank you.
I'll try to be as brief as possible. I just want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to come down. And I'm just happy to be a part of Jarrell and Trey's success. This is my first year at Woodlawn, so believe me, I'm happy to be a part of this. And I don't want to actually leave out Ms. Jones. She was a very important part of Jarrell and Trey's success. So I turn it over to Ms. Jones, but again, thank you.
Good morning, Councilman. I'm not much of a talker. I just want to thank everybody because we share experiences throughout the city. We were just here at City Hall, and it's great that they see leadership at work, because that's what we want to cultivate in our students' leadership, that you don't settle for anything other than being the top. So when they go after things like the Bill Gates Scholarship, I'm here to support them and to help them get through them. Believe me, we have 48 more students just like them getting ready to graduate, and hope to see you at the graduation. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all so much. And to the grandparents, we do appreciate the support that you give these young men, because it's highly important that they know that we got your back. And I know they're going to do great things in life, and I hope to be around to see you accomplish all your dreams in life. So look forward to seeing you guys succeed. Thank you. Mr. President, Wednesday, April 29th has been designated as National Walk at Lunch Day. I have with me this morning James Gibbs. James, if you would come forward, I'd like to present a proclamation recognizing this event at this time. Mr. President and Council, one of our biggest cheerleaders here at the City of Birmingham for health and fitness is Mr. James Gibbs. James is actively working with organizations all across the city to put physical fitness at the forefront, not just here at city government, but all throughout the City of Birmingham. Today I want to issue this proclamation in support of National Walk at Work Day. And it says, whereas getting 30 minutes of moderate physical activity such as a brisk walk, at least 5 times a week can result in significant health benefits, such as lowering the risk of developing cardiovascular disease, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and improving the health of muscles, bones, and joints. And whereas the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services estimate the cost to treat illness and chronic disease caused by inactive lifestyle is nearly $1,000 for every family in America every year. And whereas physical activity is vital to the well-being of all Americans, and National Walk at Lunch Day is an opportunity for Americans to carve time out of their busy schedules to exercise and become healthier. And whereas National Walk at Lunch Day is a workplace walking event that encourages employees to walk during their lunch break, making exercise a convenient and easy choice during the day. And whereas the City of Birmingham will participate in National Walk at Lunch Day, improving the health of our residents step by step. Now, therefore, I, William A. Bell, Sr., Mayor of the City of Birmingham, Alabama, do hereby proclaim Wednesday, April 29th, 2015, as National Walk at Lunch Day in Birmingham, and encourage all of our employees and the great citizens of our community to recognize the importance of walking as a part of a healthy lifestyle. James, this proclamation is not only given to acknowledge National Walk at Lunch Day, but also to recognize the hard work that you and so many others across this city are doing to keep our city healthy and to make us progressively a city that everyone can be a part of. Thank you, James.
Good morning, and good morning to the mayor, and thank you, Mayor, and to Chief, and to the City Council and the President and Pro Tem. Again, I'd like to just thank you and invite you to tomorrow to come out and be a part of it. Your health is in your hands, and our health, our employees are in our hands. We always want to have healthy employees. We're still ranked number 17 across the nation as one of the healthiest cities. So we're trying to push that. Tomorrow, we will have all of these companies. We have Alabama Power, Region Bank, just all of them will be out on Short 20th Street. Come on out. We'll have Lawson State Culinary School. Dr. Chef Clayton will be there, and he's going to prepare a nice meal for all of us. We'll have black bean salad, and chicken is just a great thing. Just come on out and eat with us and be a part of it. Encourage the employees from the department heads to come out because their health is so important with the city. Again, thank you, Mayor, for recognizing this day, and thank you to the city. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Mr. President, this weekend we had another outstanding Honda IndyCar race here in the city of Birmingham, and I want to thank everyone who worked so diligently to make it a success. Year after year, it grows. It sends the name of Birmingham around the world to countries that want to know what Birmingham is really all about. And I'm glad that we had another successful race. And again, I want to thank everyone who was a part of it. This past week, I had the opportunity to represent the city of Birmingham in Sochi, Russia. I went there to sign the agreement to bring the 2021 World Games here to the city of Birmingham. While I was not surprised that we would receive a warm welcome, I was surprised at the overwhelming number of federations of sports organizations from around the world who came up to say that they were excited about the opportunity to come here to Birmingham. They're estimating on the conservative side 40,000 people coming. On the high end, it may be as many as 100,000 people coming here to our city. We've got a lot of work to do between now and then, but because of the excitement that the World Games, International World Games Association have generated among its membership, I can't help but think it will be a success and put Birmingham on a map like we've never been before. So I want to thank the council for supporting that. I want to thank Judge Cook and his legal department for working so diligently to get everything in order to make sure that the city is protected. I want to thank the representatives Scott Myers and Edgar Weldon and that entire team that has been working consistently and constantly to make this a successful event and for all of us to come together and do something that this city can be proud of for decades to come. So I want to thank you all for your help and support on that. That's all I have at this time, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any Councilor Scales?
Thank you, Mr. President. And again, good morning, Mr. Mayor. We have It's just a little issue, and I know Public Works is doing a fantastic job in our area. And let me first of all say thank you to you and your staff for doing what we're trying to hope to keep the city clean. At address 712 20th Avenue Northwest, the trash is not being picked up regularly. And so that's a citizen concern that we need to address, Mr. Mayor. Also, at 532 16th Terrace Northwest, zip code 35215, that we have right across from there, we have an issue with trash and debris. So I want to make sure that I say this from the dais. It's 532 16th Terrace Northwest. And across the street from that actual address, they're having a problem with a neighbor that we need to address, Mr. Mayor, on trash and debris. Also, if Mr. Bittis, if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor, the pastor of Winewood Baptist Church, I know Mr. Bittis know about the ongoing project for Winewood Calico Ditch. The issue is that the heavy rains that we've been having, the pastor wanted to know if it's going to go behind the church. Of course, I thought it was. If it's not, it's creating an even greater flood issue back there, because that's what the issue was from the beginning, is that the water was flooding in the backyards and consequently the church. So with your permission, Mr. Mayor, if Mr. Bittis can give us an update, because I actually had them to call to their office on yesterday just so that the pastor could be relieved, because it's causing an issue for the church that's right there on Winewood Road.
Council, we are currently under construction, basically to install the box culvert and also stabilize the ditch behind the residences and to the church. So we're really under construction. I'll follow up with the contractor and get a schedule for you and see when they're going to be finished. But at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that they don't have any flooding issues downstream while they're working.
Okay.
So I will follow up.
Okay, because I just wanted to bring to your attention that they're not doing the project behind the church at all. Like, it only covered 3 residential properties, and the church is not being addressed at all. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, Mr. Mayor, and the appropriate department, because that's what the issue is. They don't see it going behind the church, and the church has actually been very gracious and working with the city so that they would help to even cut some of those trees and different things back there. So, Mr. Mayor, if we can continue to work with Mr. Bitters on it, we certainly wouldn't give a directive. The residents and the church, more importantly, wanted to know what was happening with that part of the area, and we appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. President. I think, wait a minute, there's one more thing that we want to address too. We still have a signage issue on our main thoroughfares. And, Mr. Mayor, I know that we may be limited, and maybe since this is budget time, we can try to look in to see what can be done about strengthening code enforcement. But we do have an issue with these signs. They're just all over the place, and they're in our main thoroughfares particularly. But I know that they're going to continue to put them back. I think we kind of asking a lot of Public Works to continue to ask them to take it down if we don't have enforcement, to make sure that these business owners are held accountable for what they're doing. And we still have those 18-wheeler trucks that are also still being parked at these businesses along the Parkway. That's Roebuck Parkway and Parkway East. So that concludes, Mr. President, my questions or requests for the mayor. Thank you.
Councilor Tyson.
Thank you, President, and good morning.
Good morning.
Can we get a letter written, Mayor, to Zion Star Baptist Church in the Titusville, North Titusville neighborhood, requesting them to board up the apartments that's next to the church, because it was burnt about a week ago, but they are still going in and out of their drug addicts, in there using drugs and setting fires and whatever else they wanted to do. So I would like for the church to receive a letter to actually request for them to put up no trespassing signs and to secure and board the apartment complex up until they can get the repairs done. On Green Springs Avenue, the residents are still complaining about the trucks going up and down the streets through the signs, even though we have the no truck route signs up. They refuse to obey the law. And I just really wish we could ticket every last one of them because they really do not respect our signs. They think they own Green Springs Avenue. The trucking companies do. On the corner of Tuscaloosa Avenue and 13th Street Southwest, the old Allen's Drug Store building. When I first got on the council, I reported when we were out actually doing a cleanup in the neighborhood, and the bricks fell off the building and almost injured me and the other students that we had out cleaning up. Now the whole side of the building has actually came off, and there's so many bricks have fell till it has knocked a hole in the street. They have the partitions up, stopping the traffic from coming up and down, but the bricks are still falling off every day. I went over there to actually look at it again last night on my way home from the doctor's office, and they are still falling off. And it's a bad hazard, and he trusted one a repair permit again after he has received, I don't know, at least 5 of them. He trusted one another one. And that building has been sitting there, I know, for at least 25 years. On Pearson Avenue, in front of Harrison Park and Bethel Baptist Church, it is speed bump heaven. I don't know whether it was the water company or the gas company actually has dug up that street, and it's at least 21 strips across the road, and it is big bumps. You can't move not 2 feet. It's just bumping and bumping and bumping where they have half repaired the road after they dug it up. And they have no intentions on coming back and fixing it, because when we actually reported, they said that they had repaired it, but what they did, they filled it and left big bumps in the road, and the residents are very upset about that. The residents are complaining about the lot on 1911 13th Way. It needs to be cut, and snakes are coming out. And they put, I guess, that white powder, I don't know what that is, pneumonia, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. But they put that out, but it seems like it just made the snakes come out even more, because there was a couple of them out in the street when I passed by there. The 1600 block of Alabama, there are 4 abandoned houses. It's really right next to each other, and all of the lots are overgrown. And it was a possum, and I think it looked like a bobcat, because it's too big for a community cat. It was huge, and it's the size of a dog, and it's actually a cat because it looked like a cat. But I was too scared to get out the car to approach the to actually, get a real good look. And on Pearson Avenue and Jefferson Avenue, right at where the liquor store at in the Blue House, when it rained, it flooded so bad right there in that medium in that area. It flooded so bad to where a couple of cars that tried to come through there actually was stalled and were not able to actually go through the traffic. So we had to get tow trucks to actually pull those cars out from over there. And that ends my report. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We have a citizen concern following the overgrown lots in Bellevue Heights that need to be cut on 44th Street, 1402, 1417, 1436, on 43rd Street West, 1329, 1340, 1510, 1514, and 1601. These are all overgrown lots that need some attention. And a citizen on First Avenue, Thomas, it's in the Thomas community, is requesting a slow children playing sign to encourage motorists to slow down while driving in that area. So if we would consider those items, I'd be most appreciative. Thank you.
Councilor Abbott.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Mayor, last night at the Five Points neighborhood meeting, they brought up the fact that the lights below Vulcan on Richard Arrington Jr. Drive Boulevard are out, and the guardrail has been hit so many times, it's broken in different places, and these things have been turned in, but nothing has been done. And when I was up at Vulcan last week to meet with Mrs. Negrato, I looked out the window, and the guardrail, you know, it goes like this. It's been hit so many times. And I know those things are expensive, but maybe if we turn the lights on, people wouldn't crash into the guardrail. Anyway, it needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Councilor Scales?
Thank you, Mr. President. I failed to do two more requests, Mr. Mayor, and especially being that you were away on last week, I wanted to bring this back again to the council's attention, and more importantly, yours. The staff, the community that surrounds it, first of all, is Stonehenge right there on Edwards Lake Road. But St. Vincent's East Hospital, I wanted to bring this to the city's attention again. When it rains, Mr. Mayor, that road is so slippery that if you call, you know, if we get the police before us, they can tell you all the major traffic accidents that have happened right at the intersection of Edwards Lake Road and Medical Center East Parkway. We turned that in. I mentioned it over a year ago, but then when I spoke to the CEO, which I want to give you his number as well, because I told him that you would be concerned about that. Every time it rains, even with our EMS vehicles on the road, we have an issue there. It's a major issue. Basically, the cars are sliding down the road, and it's causing some major problems over there. And so I wanted to ask either we can declare it a state of emergency. Something really needs to be done, especially if you're on your way to the hospital or going away from the hospital and you're injured and have to go back to the hospital. So I wanted to bring that to your attention, sir, so we can get that addressed. And the CEO definitely wants to talk with you. The last thing is traffic and engineering. Speaking of when Councilor Tyson was saying this, on Stonecrest Drive, and I know that there's several parts of the city, even the district, but I know we can't put down speed bumps, but if traffic and engineering can advise us as council members, they're like these little rubber pieces in the road, and I think you might know, Mr. Dawkins, what I'm talking about. It's like they're two little rubber pieces, and they go right across the road, and it serves like a deterrent to slow down. If we can look at that for Stonecrest Drive, as well as Edwards Lake Road and some of our main thoroughfares, if that can be a consideration, because I have seen it in Birmingham City proper, that can be, we can address the speeding with that, because we can't just have the police department, as I understand, to just sit there and monitor every day, all day, as they got crime to do. Okay, so if we can look at that, Mr. Mayor, if with your authorization for traffic and engineering, I've seen that in the city, and would really like to see that in all parts of the city as a deterrent to slow down the speeding. And you know, we'll go ahead and reduce this to writing. Everything else I've said has already been reduced to writing and turned into the appropriate department. But if Mr. Dawkins could be authorized to look into that and, more importantly, implement it, we would greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. All right, let's move to suspend the rules for our presentations.
So move.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right. The first presentation will be Mr. Carlton Rice. Mr. Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to ask the Lawson State Community College women's basketball team and the athletics director, Carlton Rice, and Coach Wiley, please come forward. Good morning to the council. It's truly another exciting opportunity to make a presentation in regards to District 7 this morning to our great president of Lawson State Community College, Dr. Perry Wood. He could not be here. He called me last night. He was truly excited to see that his women's basketball team was going to be here today, and we're going to acknowledge them for their great accolades. I'm going to ask that the athletics director, Carlton Rice, please come forward along with Coach Wiley and his staff. At this time, these young ladies made a huge accomplishment, the first time in school history, made a national appearance at the National Junior College Athletic Association's basketball tournament back in March, had a great season, and I will share a lot of this with you in the resolution. Whereas excellence and success in competitive sports is achieved only through strenuous practice, team play, and team spirit, nurtured by dedicated coaching and strategic planning. Athletic competition enhances the moral and physical development of the young people of our great city. It prepares them for the future by instilling in them the value of teamwork and developing a sense of fair play and competition. And whereas the 2014-15 basketball season was one to remember for the Lawson State women's basketball team, who posted a remarkable school record of 24-10. The ladies won the Alabama Community College Conference Championship, ACCC, for the first time in school history, and made a national appearance at the National Junior College Athletic Association's NJCAA basketball tournament in March. The athletic talent displayed by the team is due in great part to the efforts of head coach Aubrey Wiley, assistant coach Erica Harris, and trainer Amy Rittenhouse. And whereas the Lady Cougars were led by UAB signee Carol Rawls, who led the conference in rebounds per game, Rawls earned the conference tournament Most Valuable Player MVP award. Sophomore standout and Jackson State signee Ashley McCreer was named to all-conference tournament team. Assist leader, sophomore point guard Kyla Rooks was named to the all-conference tournament team. Sophomore guard forward Larian Scott was also a part of the all-conference tournament team. Freshman Destiny McClary was the team's leading scorer and was an all-conference second team selection. And whereas this season also a career best for head coach Aubrey Wiley, who received a number of honors this season, which include NJCAA Region 22 Coach of the Year, ACCC North Division Coach of the Year. As state champions, these ladies are the first women's basketball team at Lawson State to win the state title. Their unlimited determination created legacy for themselves and the athletics department, as well as a historic moment for the college. We'll let the team members mention themselves later on, but I'm going to continue with the resolution. This team has proven themselves to be an unbeatable combination of talent that reflects favorably on their school and community. And where special thanks and appreciation to extend it to Dr. Perry Ward, president of Lawson State Community College, and the faculty and staff for unwavering support throughout the 2014-15 basketball season. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the City of Birmingham, with Mayor William A. Bell Sr. concurring, hereby salute and congratulate the Lawson State women's basketball team on their outstanding season and overall historic team record. Adopt this 28th day of April 2015, the recommendation of Council President Pro Tempore James J. Roberson, Jr. Move the item.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Move the resolution.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Pass.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I'd like to congratulate the Lawson State women's basketball team. Congratulations to you. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mayor, Councilman. On behalf of Dr. Ward, President at Lawson State, this is a great honor to be recognized here at the City Council meeting. This is a great time to be a Lawson State Cougar right now. We're very excited of where the program is headed. These young ladies have started things, and we're going to continue in their footsteps. Again, thank you.
Come on, Coach. Okay. Hold up your hardware.
Well, I'd just like to thank you for the opportunity to have my team down here this morning. I just want to say thank you.
Good morning. I'm Darren Allen, Dean of Students at Lawson State, and we're proud of our students. We're proud of what we're attempting to accomplish there. And this is the beginning, and we want to say that it was only a number of years, 40 years ago, that we won our last state championship, and we said for these ladies, Lawson State won 3 years in a row. for men's basketball, but they've started a legacy which we're hoping to be back with you next year. And of course, we've now opened baseball, and for the first time, our baseball team has made tournament play and second in our division. So we're excited about what's happening at Lawson State academically and athletically, and we thank you for recognizing these students' great accomplishments.
Real quick, if everybody would at least state your name, position, and if you're headed to a college, let us know. We'll start on this end down here. Quick, like a fast break. Come on.
Okay, good morning. I'm Cara Rawls. My position was the forward, and I'm going to attend UAB. Good morning. My name is Taborsha Hiley. I play point guard and shooting guard, and I'm going to Miles.
Good morning. My name is Brianna Hubbard, and I was the shooting guard.
Good morning. How's everyone doing? I'm Aaliyah Epstein. I'm a sophomore, and I play guard.
Good morning. My name is Shandrika Tompkins, and I'm a freshman, and I'll be returning.
Good morning. My name is Jasmine Wiley. I'm a freshman, and I will be returning, and I'm a center.
That's amazing.
Good morning. My name is Tierra Williams. I'm a sophomore. I played shooting guard, and I'll be attending Miles in the fall.
Good morning. My name is Larian Scott. I'm a sophomore. I will be attending Miles, and I'm a guard/forward.
My name is Raquel Young. I'm the team manager, but I'll be back at Lawson.
My name is Ashley McCreary. I'm a sophomore. I play forward and guard, and I will be attending Jackson State University.
I'm Kyla Rooks, and I'm the point guard, and I'm undecided where I'm going to school yet.
Hi, my name is Lamonda Maddox, and I play power forward.
Good morning, I'm Destiny McClary. I'm a freshman, and I will be returning to Lawson, shooting guard as well.
Good morning. My name is Kayla Coleman. I'm a power forward, and I will be returning to Lawson.
Good morning. My name is Leachers Ragland. I am a point guard, shooting guard, and I will be joining the police academy.
All right.
Well, I like holding hardware. And what you have here is the NJCCA 22 Region Champion Women's Basketball 2015 champions. Congratulations to Lawson State Community College. And I also, Coach Wiley, if you don't mind, want to acknowledge my wife. She actually coached the Lawson State Community College cheerleaders. It had a little something to do with this championship. So I won't be able to go home there if I don't say that. So, well, thank you all so much, and congratulations to Lawson State. We got any comments, Mr. President?
Councilor Skills.
Thank you, Councilor Robeson, for acknowledging the jewel you have in your district, which is Lawson State Community College. And girls, you make me proud to say woman. And I like the idea that I heard some of you all, most of you, saying where you were going beyond Lawson. I am so excited about that. I really am. And I always say, if you give a woman an opportunity, I don't like to use the term female because you be female anything, but you give a girl that turns into a young woman, that turns into a woman, you give us the opportunity, we can do anything. And so I want to say congratulations to you. The hard work really does pay off. And in life, what the game of basketball will teach you is that you can be outnumbered but not counted out. You're never out of the game until you wave the white flag. But until then, you still in the game. Isn't that right? So I want to say congratulations to you. You look pretty and you sound good. And some of you all, I know you're just nervous. But nevertheless, I just want to say congratulations. And you do make me proud because you could be somewhere doing something else. And here you are at Lawson State. Got a nephew actually at Lawson State. And he's going into his little sophomore over there. And I like the idea that you all, Mr. Dean of Students, pressing for them to go beyond a 2-year college degree. That's why I'm so happy what the president is pushing for, because I understand it's just a matter of getting in the door. Once you get in the door, you can get yourself in all the way. So I want to thank everybody, the coaches, the manager. I was wondering, what were you doing? And you the shortest one in the bunch, you know? So you had to have some significant role. But I want to say again, congratulations. And I'm so glad Lawson State is getting the much well-deserved media attention and everything else that you rightfully deserve. So again, congratulations. Thank you, Councilor Robeson, for bringing these beautiful folk again before us. And I look forward to us continuing on to do that, so that when sponsors look to want to do some money and great things in the city, they're going to say, hey, at Lawson State over there, because we keep putting you out there before the public. So again, congratulations. Thank you, coaching staff. Thank you, business manager. Thank you, Mr. Dean of Students. And thank you, Dr. Ward, for everything that you're doing to put these students on the map. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Hoyt.
Yes, just wanted to congratulate you all this morning. It seems to me that you all continue to show out as an institution, and both individually and collectively. So I'm very proud that Councilor Robeson has brought you here, President Pro Tem Robeson has brought you here this morning, and you got such a wonderful leader in Dr. Perry Ward, and so we appreciate the work that he's doing there. Mr. Dean of Students, we appreciate the coaches and all. And I thought I saw Miss Jerry Albright back there. Is she back there? She did such an outstanding job of welcoming the President of the United States of America. You know, I mean, you did, and you weren't here when we gave you accolades, but you were outstanding, made us proud, made all of us proud of the institution. And certainly want to thank you all for bringing the president here to Lawson State. It made a difference in this part of the Alabama, and certainly Birmingham would never be the same without the leadership that you all given, and certainly to this basketball team. Now, y'all say it's shooting guard. Now, Councilor Robeson, is that the same thing as a hot dog? Yeah, oh, it ain't the same, you know, because I was playing basketball, you had hot dogs, you know, who always shot the ball. But, oh, it's a new way, it's a new way. Okay, so it's a shooting guard now. Okay, I got you. All right, well, when I was there playing ball, it was a hot dog, so I'm glad to know they are a shooting guard, okay? But so good to have you all this morning. Thank you, Coach.
Councilor Tyson.
It's a healthier
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that I congratulated you ladies, and I know a lot of y'all stay in District 6, and I would like to thank you for the shirt that y'all gave me, and I have been wearing the shirt, and I just wish you the best, and y'all just really, y'all are some pretty young girls, and y'all represent Lawson so well. Coach, you're doing a very good job.
Thank you. Thank you. Next presentation, we have Councilor Lundy.
Thank you, leadership. Would Dr. Turner and Dr. Martin Alls of the Gear Up program please address the podium?
Good morning again.
Morning.
Good morning.
I appreciate it. Again, to the council president, council members, Mayor Bell, we're elated to be here because this is also a connected story to what we talked about earlier. If you recall, and I hope you do, that about 4 years ago, Birmingham City looked to transform how we actually function as a district, specifically with our high schools. We took seriously that we needed to put our students in a position to be college and career ready, but not just by words, but by restructuring our district so that they would be in a structure to allow them to do it. The result of that has been the development of our academies, of which the two students you saw earlier were members. And you can see, you're right, it's very deliberate how they got to be where they are. Also, however, we understood that high school in and of itself couldn't do it. That in order to really make an impact across the board, we had to address what was happening in middle school, and then ultimately what's happening in elementary, so that we have a clear pipeline all the way through of support, experiences, academic rigor, all the things necessary that when they get to the end, there's no question that if they want to go to college, they're prepared to do it. But if they choose to go into a career, we provided skills that would allow them to do that. On the middle school part, we have been fortunate that we received a $19+ million grant called, thank you, sir, called the Gaining Early Awareness and Readiness for Undergraduate Programs Grant, in short, GEAR Up. This grant targets all of our 6th grade and all of our 7th grade students and will provide a means to put in place a transformational model that will support these students not only academically, but in terms of social connections, in terms of experiential things that they can involve themselves, a wraparound services, all of it, that will literally walk these students up from the 6th and 7th grade through their first year of college, providing the mechanisms, the resources, and the things that we need to ensure that they are successful. This will plug into what we're doing in our high schools. Very deliberate. So we're happy and pleased that you allowed us to come before you today to talk a little bit about this GEAR Up grant. And I'm going to ask that our director of, coordinator of this grant, Dr. Donna Turner, come forward and share a little bit more detail. I'll also want to make sure I recognize the fact that Ms. Cottrell is here, who is now working directly and directing our academy activities in our high school, and Mr. Gray, who is the director of middle schools, because this is where that grant starts, and he is an integral part of making sure that that works. Dr. Knowles is here, and G.T. Friedman is here as well, and we just appreciate the group being here to support and to share with you this morning about GEAR Up. Dr. Turner.
Good morning. Thank you again for allowing us to come and speak this morning and let you know some of the great things that's going on in the Birmingham City school system. I think Dr. Horn did a great job in summarizing what the grant aims to do. Activities are slated to begin as early as May, and we have several partner organizations who are going to work with us to provide academic enrichment for our students, college tours and visits, as well as professional development for our teachers. Also, in conjunction with that, we're going to one of the great things that just happened for us is that we established a partnership with the Alabama Community College System. Dr. Heinrich, who is the chancellor, has agreed to provide our middle school students a full scholarship to any community college or technical college in the state of Alabama as long as they meet the criteria. So the 6th and 7th grade students already have doors of opportunity being extended to them. And we've just started this in January. So I'm looking forward to some of the other things that we are going to have going on as well. Thank you.
Again, Council President and Council members, Mayor Bell, we appreciate the opportunity to come before you, and we're open to any questions that you might have. Are there any questions we might answer in regards to the grant?
Mr. President,
Councilor Scales.
If you don't mind, Mr. President, I'll yield to Councilor Hoyt, and then you can come back to me.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Councilor Scales.
I was going to say, Dr. Horn, I guess because I've been knowing you for so long, of being familiar with you and your work, I was telling Councilor Lundy, this is excellent. I was hoping that we weren't going to just censor y'all to 5 minutes because, you know, everybody's competing to get grants. And Birmingham City Schools got it. and the fact that you're addressing the middle school students. Now, Ms. Cottrell has had the honor, or I have had the honor of working with Ms. Cottrell, and she know I can be real anal about certain things, and education is one of them, and how we do some of what we do. And I'm not no school board member, but I want to see Birmingham City school students in the light I saw today. And I'm telling you, what's your name one more time? Is that doctor or just Mrs.? Miss? Dr. Turner. You a smart lady. Yes, I'm telling you, that I'm just happy. I'm very happy to know that. Because if they're already getting that in them in middle school, that they can at least go to a 2-year, and I heard career tech. I was listening intently. That is excellent, because some students may not do well academically. Well, now we're taking away the excuse you just can't do anything. You can do something. So if career tech is the way we're gonna go, then that's great too, because it's gonna help you academically. Because now we're addressing some other issues, and I really like that. And so I just wanted to say again, congratulations, Councilor Lundy, because he does chair Economic Development Committee for the council. This is how you win in terms of real economic development, because you're starting off from their middle school in their formidable years, then they go up to high school. 2-year college will be a given. So I want to thank all of you all for the work that you've done. And Ms. Turner, Dr. Turner, I'm going to keep my eye on you. That's a good thing that you're able to write those kind of grants and then bring that money in, huh?
I wanted to say one other thing, Councilman Scales. I didn't write the grant.
Okay.
Dr. Horn and another team wrote the grant.
Oh, really?
He brought me in January to oversee the activities of the grant, since I have grant experience.
Oh, I'm glad you corrected me.
Yes.
Because you mean to tell me, Dr. Horn, you can write grants too?
Well,
I'm not going to say nothing from this dais, but wow, you got a interim superintendent that knows how to write grants. Okay, I'm done with that.
I want to say 2 more things.
Yes.
That all of the activities that the middle school students will participate in are free of charge. So we have summer residential camps that will be hosted at UAB, at Auburn, Miles, and Sanford. They won't have to pay for anything.
Wow.
And one other good thing that I have to highlight is that we also have a system of accountability. So we have a third-party external evaluator that will go in and meet once a month with those partners to ensure that whatever services they say they're providing for our students, they are indeed providing those services.
Wow.
Thank you.
Lastly, Mr. President, and I'm gonna be quiet on this note, then let me just say this. How are you all publicizing this? Because I'm gonna help you in District 1 to be able to publicize. And Ms. Cottrell, I was about to say Sister Cottrell, she knows when I put my mind to it, not a single ant will get by in District 1. All I need for you to do is to tell me what to do, what information you want out there. And we're going to make sure that our families in District 1, I'm going to commit that to you, that they know about it. Because to have that jewel and don't even know that the diamond exists, you can't take advantage of what you don't know. But now once you know, I'm going to hold you accountable. Not you, but family. Make sense? Thank you, Councilor Lundy. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Boyd? Yes, certainly want to thank the Councilor Lundy for bringing these wonderful folk here this morning. I had heard about the $19 million, Dr. Horn, and I was hoping that we have an opportunity to celebrate that, because I think when we look at the world and how it operates, it is the technical 2-year schools that are our workforce. And so this is who take care of us in this society. So I'm just glad that we're getting ahead of the game. And certainly, I think it's going to be a benefit to all of our children as they meander through life. And so I want to commend you. $19 million is no small feat. It is not. And, I'm not on the board, but if I was on the board anywhere in the world, I wouldn't consider highly Dr. Horn. He hadn't asked for that because, he's a humble man. He has a lot of humility in his disposition, and so we appreciate that. But certainly having the third-party verification, I think that is essential to any grant because you do want to make sure that you are following the letter when it comes to the distribution of those grant dollars. And so I think it's smart, I think it's prudent, I think it's fiduciary, you know, that it shows the kind of leadership that you have, that you know, that you sense that that's what we need to implement this grant. And you and your colleagues, your team, you ought to be commended. I don't know Ms. Cottrell, but I think I've heard that name many, many times. But, huh?
From jail.
Oh, from jail. Okay. Oh, yes, absolutely. Okay. Well, she's a go-getter. I know that. So we appreciate all of you, Dr. Null. Now, I got a Null in my district. Are you related to Ms. Null?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm glad. No, I'm just kidding. So she stay on me. I know she gonna get me. Yeah, but she stay on me. Okay, but in a good way. So thank all of you this morning. It is just wonderful to know that we are moving in this direction, and that's why when you have business who want to locate, they look at the school system, and I believe we're on our way to being that par excellent school system that we need to recruit in this city. With all the stuff the mayor's doing, flying different places, trying to recruit businesses and what have you in Council Austin. And so it's just important that we work towards that end. Thank you.
Close out. Thank you, Mr. President. When Dr. Null called me about this program, first let me say he and I have long been in the trenches around education. And many of the folks in this city know my passion and desire to see our children reach the apex of their educational opportunities. And so many things were afforded to me through education. Broke the cycle of poverty through education. I was able to travel through reading. I never left the West End Library, but my mind did. And I just remember that so vividly because I had instructors like W.J. May and Clarence Mitchell and Alfred Cottrell who put it in me through the Birmingham Public Schools to put my best foot forward. So when we had an opportunity to really advertise this, and I really want to see our Public Information Office, Mr. President, get behind this effort to help us do a PSA of some type around this program, because see, we've got an opportunity for our children to have free post-secondary education. I don't think we really heard that. Every student that finishes this program can go to college for free. And if you partner that with some other stuff like at UAB, you know, they'll let you go 2 years and then you can go to UAB free for 2 years. I mean, you know, if you parlay this thing with some other programs, you mess around and you have PhD for free. But it'll start in middle school with the Gear Up program. And Birmingham is really on the forefront of education. You know, we don't see that because we're in the beginning. We're heading up the hill. But I promise you, our schools are trending in the right direction. When I look at the group of academicians that stand before us, I know that our schools are in good order. I'm excited about it. Worked with Dr. Horn on the career academies extensively. Something I'm proud when I look at the career academies that you and I were part of that legacy. You know, Dr. Null, Dr. Turner, I know extensively. I knew her when she was a beauty queen at A&M. And it's all right, watch out now. But we have a wonderful team assembled to move our children into the next century so that they might be all they can be. And I just wanted to take time out of this council meeting to allow you this opportunity to present and to get this information out. And from the council dais, from the Administration and Education Committee, which I sit on and our council president chairs, I speak on behalf of everybody on this dais. This is what Birmingham has to be known for, more stories like this. So I'm excited about what you're doing, and you have the full weight of the council behind you. Whatever we can do to assist, by all means, let us know. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Our next presentation.
Thank you very much.
Tyson. Councilor Tyson.
Yes. A couple of weeks, I think it might have been a month ago, I was called by Johnny Rogers through the JET Award program to go up and represent a young man in District 6 at UAB. The fastest young man, I guess, in the United States in football, in kick return, J.J. Nelson. Come up, you and your family. I want y'all to look at this video.
Nelson could be the last Blazer to ever appear at a combine, as UAB, as we know, has discontinued football.
Taken by J.J. Nelson. J.J. down the far sideline. He is inside the 10-yard line. It'll be first and goal Blazers.
He's their best playmaker. Find a way to get the ball.
Kick. Nelson actually backs up to the 1. Coming out across the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Midfield, Nelson at 40, 30, 20, 10. Touchdown! J.J. Nelson brings it out across the 10. Right at the 15, 20, 25, 30-yard line, 140, 45, 50. Down the sideline, 40, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown! J.J. Nelson! 100 yards! Towards the goal line from the 1. Nelson. Straight ahead at the 10. 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, far side, midfield. Foot race to the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. He is gone. Touchdown, Blazers. Far side, Nelson, a yard deep, brings it out. Across the 10, running right at the 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Midfield, foot race, 40, 35, 30, 20, 10. He has done it.
Austin Brown unloads, man open, touchdown. The speed of Jamarcus Nelson.
J.J. Nelson is living in the moment. Since graduating, the former UAB wide receiver is training harder than ever before in hopes of being a 2015 NFL draft pick.
Just, taking it and soaking it all in. But I know my family, they probably just as happy and just excited as I am. Because I'm kind of more cool, calm, laid-back type of guy. But, with them being so excited and so supportive of me, I know that I'm probably going to get a little emotional. Hopefully if my name calls Sam.
Counselor Sheila Tyson has been right alongside this former Blazer for some time.
Just looking at the games and just watching him play, and this guy is fast. So his ability to maneuver the field, the quickness of his hands and his feet is just amazing.
She traveled to Omaha, Nebraska to accept the JET Award in his honor. He was named the 2014 Most Valuable Kick Returner.
I know you're going to be successful.
Counselor Tyson says this gridiron speed demon is just another example of why UAB needs to reinstate its football program.
UAB, wow. It's so much talent like JJ that's here in Jefferson County that we would be overlooking and would not have an opportunity to show their talent and that they really have what it takes to become a professional football player and to offer a college to build their program and also to get a degree and they would actually have a career for life.
Counselor Tyson says she's all in to cheer for this prospective NFL player, whom she knew as a proud Blazer at UAB.
But when you become a big-time football player, you ain't gonna forget about me, are you?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
For all the latest news and information, connect with our community or visit our website and subscribe to news updates.
What I can say, the opportunity that I had through JJ to actually to go to a awards banquet to actually be in the room with all of these major league players that played for years. Horace Allen. I was just amazed, and they treated me so nice. And when they called and asked me to go within a 24-hour notice, I asked Kevin. I said, "Is it anything that's on my calendar that I just cannot cancel?" And he said, "No." So I was on my way, and I did not use tax dollars in order to do this. But I knew the potential that JJ had, and I knew the ability that he had in school. He did his lesson. He actually passed, and he has a great attitude. And I knew that he had to have great parents in order to be so humble and so intelligent. But this is the fastest man in the world. and actually, he's here in Birmingham. And so how could we not honor him? And the award was actually too big for me to bring back on the plane, so they had to ship it actually out. And everyone do not get this award. It's very few people that actually have it. And so I wanted him to come to be recognized by the City Council of Birmingham before he become a big football player, so he can come back and give back to Birmingham and District 6 too. And also to actually get a chance to see the award and actually just be so proud of a humble young man that is actually going places. And with the grace of God, I can just see it all in his spirit, the way he was raised, that he is a very, very talented young man.
How you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, first, I would like to thank my family, UAB, City of Birmingham, and especially Ms. Tyson for going to receive the award from me. Well, the reason why I wasn't there to receive it, because I was taking a visit to the Oakland Raiders, and I had another one to go to Detroit. And when I got back home, I had got a phone call from Mr. Reed. He told me that the city council lady came and accepted the award for you. I was like, I didn't get no notification. I was just gonna expect it in the mail. And so he told me, yeah, she came and she tore it up. And so, she had a good time. Everybody was excited for her. And by that, I already knew who it was from the time we had came up here when they had canceled the program, when all my teammates had came and she had spoke. And then they had another meeting that I had saw at UAB. So I already knew who it was, and I was thankful for her to do that. That's it.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Marcia Nelson. Everybody, my brother is Officer Robert Nelson from Birmingham, and we are so proud of him, and thank you for going, because he wasn't able to go, and thank you for y'all for honoring him. It was just a privilege. All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, here is the award that JJ received, and they also gave me a Heisman Trophy and a signed football by all of the past Heisman Trophy winners. And I was just really, my brother said, you really didn't realize where you was, because if you was, you would have just been screaming and hollering. But I was very excited, and I did represent Birmingham well. And we actually went down in some book there, and they actually pulled the picture of the whole council off of the council website, and actually we was displayed in the book for representing Birmingham. And here's my Heisman Trophy. One of y'all can rub on it. This is the one that I received, and the one JJ received, and I also received the football that Kevin has. So thank you so much.
Awesome.
Well, let me just say this, because Counselor Tyson is, I don't like to say freshman counselor, she's in her first term. And I always say, if you're gonna have a life in this arena that we're in, what it took you to get elected is what it takes to keep you elected. And what I mean by that is that people knew her for being involved in her community. People know Counselor Tyson for actually genuinely loving on you, not just election time. And I'm so glad that she hasn't allowed politics to change her. I want to say kudos to you, Counselor Tyson. I'm so proud of you. Every time you do something, I just always want to be that cheerleader to say, good job, great job, you know, because all of us need encouragement. And I want to continue to encourage you to do that, because it was only a few years ago, Mr. Nelson, and I won't cry, but I had 2 students from Huffman High School. See, I know how proud your counselor is, because 2 of my students, one was Marcel Darius and then Andre Smith, and they went on to the NFL, and then they mama's girls, you know what I mean? And just so when you all understand that we're backing you, and it's not a feel-good speech, it touches you and it inspires you more, because you know they really support me. You see what I'm saying? And so when Marcel lost his mom and some other things happened with him, you know, you still got the community saying, we with you, we supporting you. Don't ever forget that, because I can tell you from one who grew up in the entertainment business, it's easy to get high off your own supply. Stay humble. God will always give grace to the humble. He resisted the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. And therefore, other doors will open for you. Is this your grandmama? I'm assuming. Okay. Grandmama will tell you that's a piece of wisdom that can take you. Talent will get you in the door. Your character will keep you there. Stay humble in your attitude. The sky will be the limit. Mom, again, I can't say enough. Mamas, we doing our job. And we do the job even of some dads. And we love dads. We want dad to be there. But if dad not there, we got it. And is dad here? Well, come on, stand up, Dad. It had to be a dad somewhere. No, come on up. Because you had a role to play in this too. You wasn't just a seed donor. So I want to say congratulations to you as well. Because I'm telling you, this young man could have been a statistic. And he's not a statistic, he's a success. And so I just want to say congratulations to this whole family, because that's what it's going to take. And I thank God for Counselor Tyson recognizing her role is to be a part of the village, to help raise you. So congratulations to you. I'm so glad that you have her in your life, have her over your district. She genuinely cares about the folk out there in her district. And Dad, I'm glad you came up, because I don't want to be giving Mama all these kudos and you somewhere in the back. So congratulations, and Mama and Dad, just keep on pushing him. Every time I see it, I say he could have gone another way, but God wouldn't let that happen. And more importantly, JJ, you don't let it happen. When the opportunity comes, don't get your mind unfocused. Stay focused and keep your eye on the prize. Remember, you're not just representing yourself, you're representing your whole entire community. We're rooting for you, okay? Congratulations again, Counselor Tyson. Great presentation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to commend Counselor Sheila Tyson for recognizing Jamarcus J.J. Nelson. I remember Jamarcus J.J. Nelson when he was a prime-time receiver at Midfield High School. Had a very outstanding high school career under my teammate and head coach, Reuben Nelson, who played at Alabama A&M University with myself years ago, who's now doing great things at Ramsey High School. But you have, young man, accomplished a lot of great accolades. For Counselor Tyson to go to, I don't even know if she understands where she was and how big that was of an event. To receive that on your behalf was truly tremendous. That is at the climax of college football athletics, for you to get that honor. And I just want to let people know, you also named 2014 College Football All-American Team by Walter Camp Foundation, USA Today, and CBS Sports as a kick returner. He was also Conference USA Special Teams Player of the Year and First Team All-Conference as a wide receiver with UAB football team. And Nelson is the last All-American that we'll see come from the University of Alabama at Birmingham in football. So you always be in the history books, young man, for what you did on the field. And I want you to take it all in. I know Thursday's right around the corner. Everybody be watching ESPN and NFL Network. I know I will. We have another local young man that's probably going to go #1 in the draft, Jameis Winston. And so he's going to be here. He's not going up to New York for the draft. So I just think there's an opportunity that we have a lot of great young men that are coming from Birmingham and representing our city very well. Joe Webb at the Carolina Panthers, Marcel, who's now giving back in a lot of different ways within our community. As I told you earlier, just make sure when you get there to the next level, don't forget home, because this is where the foundation was started. And I know your old school could use some help at midfield, and right here in Birmingham, Alabama, there's a lot of young kids that were inspired to be a J.J. Nelson. There's a lot of young kids that will look up to you. So I know you'll represent us well. I see Grandma there, Mama, and your father, and it's truly a pleasure to get a chance to know you. And thank you, Counselor, for acknowledging this young man, his accolades, and that's truly a beautiful trophy that you received, and congratulations on all your endeavors. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, well, Counselor, let me thank you, because I know you're an athlete yourself. And so, you know, recognize athletes. And so, JJ, I'm going to be modest. You're almost as fast as I am. And man, you can scat, okay? And really, it's just refreshing to see young men going into pros, because I think that, you know, it's a testament to the kind of athlete that we have in Alabama proper. And we have, I mean, we rule the SEC, you know, and so here we are again celebrating you for your accomplishment in Conference USA. And so it's just a magnificent opportunity for Birmingham, for this institution, and certainly to all the young people who aspire to be a JJ. And so we appreciate your parents, your grandparents, and we're just going to pray that God continue to bless you, keep you healthy, keep your mind stayed on the prize. And so, and we just want you to make sure you get all the stuff that you need to sustain you. Get you a good financial planner. And I always think about Charles Barkley. His financial planner is somebody he'd known for more than 30 years. And it hadn't changed. And he manages money quite well. And he's a local person, but he's a good man, honest man. And so those things are important, because sometimes our young people blow up. I'm talking young folks talk now. You know, I got a vernacular too. But sometimes they blow up and they don't have the kind of balance that they need. And so I'm just saying, this is just advice. You know, get you a good financial planner, get you a good lawyer, and I think you'll be very, very successful in life. And so we thank your parents, and we thank the institution and your coach for exposing you to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. We're ready to move on with the consideration of the consent agenda.
Okay, excuse me. Consent agenda starts on page 2. Items 1 through 5 are on consent. Page 3, items 6 through 9 are on consent. On page 4, you have items 10 through 12 on consent. On page 5, you have items 13 and 16 on consent. Page 6, item 17 is on consent. Page 7, item 20 is on consent. Item 22 has been requested for a 1-week delay.
Which item was that?
Item 22. Page 8, item 23 is on consent. Item 24 has been requested to be withdrawn from the agenda. Items 25 and 26 are on consent. Page 10, Items 30 and 33 are on consent. Councilors, you have a new contract in front of you, an additional contract for this item, as well as the change.
Which item?
Item 33. The breakout should be $712 instead of $721 for
Okay.
Councilor Scales item.
Yeah.
Page 11, items 35 through 38 are on consent. Page 12, items 39, 40, and 42 are on consent. Page 13, items 43 and 45 are on consent. Page 14, items 46 through 48 are on consent. Page 16, we have items 51 through 54 on consent, and that concludes the consent agenda. You have one addendum item.
All right. The addendum item is, which one is it?
It's Birmingham Fashion Week.
I don't have that. Oh, wait a minute, here it is. Yeah. Okay. All right, that's item 55. All right, Council Scales, you want to speak to the consent agenda?
Yes, sir, Mr. President, if you don't mind. On page, I have a question, bear with me, on item 25, page 8. If I can have the question answered, then it can remain on consent. I really want it.
It's going to be removed from consent.
Oh, okay, all right, well
So do you
then,
want to just remove it?
yes, sir, go ahead
All
and
right.
remove it.
All right.
Okay, hold on, Mr. President. I'd like to consent item number 28, page 9. Also, item 29, page 9. Since those have already gone before the appropriate committee. Okay, also, Mr. President, I have well, item 41 is not on the agenda on page 12, is it? I didn't hear it on the consent agenda.
Not yet.
Okay, all right, so I would only object because I just have a question of what's going on there. Certainly, I just need to
You
get.
want to ask and then put it on consent, or you just want to?
Well, let me ask you this. I noticed that it's saying that it's change order number 1. Are there other change orders forthcoming? And is this the entire amount we're looking at so that if there is a change order number 2? Because obviously, is this Cooper Green Park we're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so is this going to have another change order
No,
forthcoming?
no, that's it. We're done.
Okay, so you just put change number 1 just because it.
Just the first one.
Okay, all right, then we can go ahead and consent that item if the council doesn't have an objection. Item number, you're welcome. Item number 44, I did have a question, but that's not on consent. Am I right, Mr. President?
Nope.
Okay.
Want to ask you a question and then place it on consent?
Okay, because I wanted to know, obviously, I know that with that particular company, being that this is the one that burned, if my memory is correct, then I'm trying to see what is this, some type of economic development incentive that we're doing here on page 13, item 44. I don't want to call the company because I didn't want to bring it to, I'm sorry?
He can speak to it. It's a bid.
Yes.
It's a bid.
No, it's not.
No,
It's
I
not
get it
economic.
now. I get it now. Okay, so I'm assuming that this is a bid based on this is the lowest bid, and so we accepted it. Okay, is this basically like city vehicles that in case they need X service that this company can provide it? Okay, then with that said, I'm sorry, because what I took for granted when I saw the name, then that's on me. I'll take responsibility for that. On page 13,
So you wanna
item
put it on
44, we
consent?
can place it on consent, Mr.
All right,
President.
Mr. President, I'm sorry. There needs to be change on the recommended by equipment management, not PP.
All right, got it.
All right, item number 45, I did have a question, and I'd like to remove that because, as a matter of fact, Mr. President, there's another similar company, and I'm trying to see how we going about doing what we're doing. So, for example,
Bids?
I'm sorry?
They were all bids.
I know that they're bids, but how does one company and another item gets to be the secondary, and it looks like there's another company that's like the primary, so how do we get to what's primary and what's secondary? And then this company is also too providing some of the same services with the exception of tents.
What we did, Counselor, is, and we've done this several times before, we put the tents and all the other type inflatables, popcorn machines, cotton candy machines, all the items that generally some of the fun days would like to use. And we, because there's usually more than one fun day on the same weekend, we award, if we get more than one bid for a specific item, we'll make a primary award, a secondary award, and there have been cases in the past where we actually made a tertiary award. So we have the prices established, and if the low bidder is already booked up for that weekend, then we'll, in this case, get a tent from the second low bidder.
Okay.
So that's why we do that.
Okay, Mr. President, the only reason why I'm asking, and I understand your rationale, but because the secondary company is a historically underutilized business enterprise, I was just wondering why were they kind of in the secondary category as opposed to both of them languaging the same way, so that there are choices there, that they're providing the same service.
It's because they were the second low bid. They were not the low bid.
They were not the low S
Exactly,
bid.
exactly.
Oh, okay, all right, so with that being understood, then we can go ahead and leave that item, because I noticed you had like 3 companies doing the same thing. The only thing with exception on this would have been the tent part of it. Okay, on item 50, page 15, if we can consent that as well, Mr. President, and
Object.
You object, all right. And so that would be all that I have, Mr. President, because I had a question mark by item 47, but you've already answered. You said that it's the lowest bid, so they can remain on consent. Thank
Okay.
you, Mr. President.
Councilor Tyson?
I'd like to remove item 16, page 5, and item 17, page 6.
Item 16 and 17, okay.
Yes,
That it?
that's it.
Councilor Rafferty?
Thank you. On page 6, I would like to ask if we can add item 18 to the consent agenda.
Ken, I have a question, but I don't have a problem adding to consent. My question was, what's the status of the Brown Marks building? I see we're doing some repairs to the sidewalks, things like that. But what's going on with that property?
Yeah, Councillor, this is actually part of the development that we're working with the Marriott Hotel at the Empire Building. And the city has committed some incentives or funding to make some sidewalk and infrastructure improvements in that block, vicinity of that 4 corners where you have John Hand, Brown Marks, Empire Building. So what we did is we actually applied for a grant, so the city doesn't have to advance the funding. We can use actually transportation enhancement funding from ALDOT for us to make that improvement. Our intent right now is to actually do the corners that are already built out, but we're gonna budget for also the corner for Brown Marks Building, and if the development goes forward, we can have that funding to actually apply funding to that corner as well.
So you say the city has committed to doing this with the Marriott already?
Yeah, there was a commitment from the city as far as improving the sidewalks and make sure that we have wheelchair ramps, landscaping, lighting to support the development going in the Empire Building. So we're actually applying for a grant, so the city does not have to advance the funding. We'll actually get funding from ALDOT to do it.
I'm gonna leave it off consent.
Okay.
I have some more questions. So what, go ahead, Councilor Rafferty.
Well, on item 19, I wanted to ask a quick question. Is this an item that needed to go before Budget and Finance?
It went yesterday.
It did, and
it
what
was recommended.
Recommended. Okay, then if it hasn't been, could I place that on consent?
Is that it?
No. Page 7, item 21.
Only thing on that item is just to make sure that they are, we passed that ordinance several years ago, Mr. Bittis, where they would go and cut the street, and if they did, then make sure to come back and repair it properly. And I just wanted to make sure that they're being held to that ordinance, because I know that they have not, in some parts of the city, have not been doing it. And I know this is on the western side, so I just wanted to make sure that they are being held to those same standards.
I appreciate that, Doctor.
That's all I wanted to comment.
Okay, okay, so item 21 to consent, then on page, on page 9, item 27, I believe we consented 28 and 29. On page 10, item 31, although I do believe Counselor Abbott, this and Scales, this should be coming before Transportation Committee next Wednesday for review, but I'd like to go ahead with the item for the evaluation.
Item 31.
I'm sorry, 31.
Okay.
And then lastly, on page 14, item 49.
Item 49, okay.
And that's all. Thank you, sir.
All right. Councilor Abbott?
Thank you. Did we just place item 34 on page 11 on consent?
No, not yet.
Okay, I would like to place that one on consent, if there are no objections.
Okay.
And also on page 13, item 44.
Mr. President, I do have a question about that, so if that can
Item
remain
34?
on item 34, page 11.
All right. You object? Okay, go ahead. Councilor Abbott, what were you saying?
On page 13, item 44.
That's already on consent.
It's already on consent, okay. Well, that's, oh, and I did want to ask on page 12, on item 41, just what the reason for the increase is.
Council, when we completed the access road through the park and the parking lot, the upper parking lot, we realized that we need some additional sidewalks added so we can connect the parking lot and the upper fields. So we added that to the work.
Okay, thank you. And is the item 41 on consent? Is it?
Item 41? Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right.
Mr. President, did
go
we
ahead.
add the addendum item?
No.
Could we please?
Yes. No one has an objection. We'll add item 55 to the consent agenda. All right. Okay, Councilor Hoyt.
Yes, Mr. President, item 22.
Page.
7.
Right, on page 7, what are we doing here?
That's been taken off the consent agenda, and it'll be requested to have a delay.
Okay, okay. Yeah, because I want to realize where we going.
But we're requesting a delay because they haven't gotten everything together yet.
Okay, in 20 years, I got concerns about that. Okay, and I think 34 has already been addressed.
Yeah, it has. It's not on consent.
Mr. President?
Hold on, Councilman.
I think that's all I have at this moment.
Okay, Councilor Scales.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Item 34, I got the question answered that I needed. So I will join with Councilor Abbott in making sure, because really I just want to know who was this company.
Okay.
Okay, we had that issue like a couple of
Got it
years
answered.
ago. So yeah, so seemingly since I got the answer, then item 34, page 11 can be consented.
Okay, Councilor Tyson, you had another one? Okay, Mr. Pro Tem.
Mr. President, on page 5, item 14, I'd like to add that to consent.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
I object.
all right.
Thank you again.
All right, any other council members? Let me see, Mr. Clerk, make sure. I'll go back over it for the council, just so you'll know.
Mr. President, let me ask you something. I know it's a public hearing for item number 15, but are we able to consent it?
No,
I know we can't consent it, literally consent it, but I'm just saying.
good if we wanted to, but we're not going to.
But that's okay, Mr. President. That's okay. I accept that.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Mr. Clerk, I'm gonna go back over the consent agenda. Item, page 2, items 1 through 5 are on consent. Page 3, items 6 through 9 are on consent. Page 4, items 10 through 12 are on consent. Page 5, item 13 is on consent. Item 16 was removed from consent. Page 6, item 17 was removed from consent. Item 19 was added to consent. Page 7, item 20, 21, 20 is on consent, 21 was added to consent, 22 was removed from the consent agenda. Page 8, 23 is on consent, 24 was withdrawn, 25 was removed from consent, 26 is on the consent agenda. Page 9, item 27, 28, and 29 were added to the consent agenda. Page 10, item 30 is on consent, 31 was added, and 33 is on consent. Page 11, item 34 was added, and items 35 through 38 are on consent. Page 12, item 39 and 40 are on consent. 41 was added, and 42 is still on the consent agenda. Page 13, item 43 remains on consent. 44 is added, and 45 remains on consent. Page 14, items 46 through 48 are on consent. 49 was added, and then we added the addendum item number 55 to the consent agenda, which is the special events. All right, do we have any members of the public who wish to speak to an item that has been placed on the consent agenda marked as a public hearing? You may now approach the podium. If there's any member of the public who wishes to speak to an item that has been placed on the consent agenda and marked as a public hearing, you may now approach the podium. Go ahead. Not yet. Did you have an item?
Yes, we had the addendum for Birmingham Fashion Week number 55.
Oh, that's on consent.
Okay, so we don't need to. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You can have a seat and see if it'll pass, but it should be fine. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak to an item that has been placed on the consent agenda marked as a public hearing? All right, seeing none, Mr. Pro Tem, you have something?
I was going to make a motion.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Sir, did you have something, an item? No. All right, it's been moved and properly seconded. Mr. Clerk, ready to vote on the consent agenda?
Voting should be open. That vote should be up. Vote should be up, Mr. President.
All right, that item passes unanimously. Any items that have been placed on the consent agenda pass with one vote, so you all are free to leave, and we're happy that Trader Joe's is coming to Birmingham. All right, Mr. Clerk, first item.
Item 14. It's on page 5. A resolution assenting to the vacation of the following 637 square feet of air rights in the First Avenue North alley that runs parallel to and between First Avenue North and 2nd Avenue North and perpendicular to and between 18th Street North and 19th Street North on behalf of Posits LLC, SWSGA Realty Incorporated, and New Ideal LLC owners, so that the new crosswalk can be constructed from a parking deck to the Posits building and hearing of all interested parties, case number 2014-59.
Mr. President, I move approval.
Second. All right, Abbott, Roberson, Mr. Pro Tem.
Actually, this item falls under
I'm sorry.
Public improvement.
Councilor Tyson. Go ahead, you can read the case too.
Okay, this is case SUB 2014-0059. This is an application on behalf of Posits LLC, SWSGA Realty Inc., and New Ideal LLC owners This is a resolution to determine whether the council will give its assent to the vacation of the following 637 square feet of air rights in the First Avenue North alley that runs parallel to and between First Avenue North and Second Avenue North and perpendicular to and between 18th Street North and 19th Street North, so that a new crosswalk can be constructed from a parking deck to the Bazitz building, and whether such vacation will deprive other property owners of such right as they may have to ingress and egress to and from their property. The 1/3 right-of-way vacation fee has been set at $2,710.44. On November 12, 2014, the Subdivision Committee of the Birmingham Planning Commission recommended approval of this vacation to the council, and on January 14, 2015, Public Improvements and Beautification Committee forwarded the vacation to the council with no recommendation due to lack of a quorum.
Do we have anyone here for or against this item? It's a public hearing.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Joey Miller, civil engineer, land surveyor, representing the owners. We did the survey and record map, and be glad to answer any questions y'all might have.
Do we have any? Okay. Councilman Abbott.
Yes, I just wanted to ask, and this may be something that, that Mr. McGee has to answer, but were the air rights never vacated when the original skywalk was built, like 30, 40 years ago? Okay, so you're gonna tear down the old skywalk and build a new skywalk?
The old skywalk is very unsafe, and so they need to have a new one, and so they need to rebuild, or actually tear down the old one and rebuild a new one. So we had to go through and do it the correct way. It was done back in the 60s and 70s, and I'm not sure how it got built without any vacation, but it did. So there we are.
Okay, well, that was my only question.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
certainly understand the need for one, and that one doesn't look very, I wouldn't want to walk across.
No, it was just.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions or comments? Thank you. Okay, we're ready for a vote,
All right.
President.
All right, Mr. Clerk, we have a mover in a second. Abbott Roberson.
Voting is open. The vote should be up.
That item passes, 1 no vote from Council Hoyt. Next item.
Should be item 15, a resolution assenting to the vacation of the following 26,296 square feet of Powell Avenue that runs parallel to and between Morris Avenue and First Avenue South and perpendicular to and between 18th Street and 19th Street on behalf of Alabama Power Company owners, so the Alabama Power Steam Plant can be reinvented to support economic development in the city and the hearing of all interested parties, case number 2014-67.
We are ready for our public hearing.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. This is case number SUB 2014-00067. This is an application on behalf of the Alabama Power Company owner, and this is a resolution to determine whether the council will give its assent to the vacation of the following 26,296 square feet of Powell Avenue that runs parallel to and between Morris Avenue and First Avenue South and perpendicular to and between 18th Street and 19th Street, so that the Alabama Power Steam Plant can be reinvented to support economic development in the city, and whether such vacation would deprive other property owners of such right as they may have to ingress and egress to and from their property. The 1/3 right-of-way vacation fee has been set at $122,364.05. On November the 12th, 2014, the Subdivision Committee of the Birmingham Planning Commission recommended approval of this vacation to the council, and on January 14, 2015, Public Improvements and Beautification Committee forwarded the vacation to the full council with no recommendation due to lack of a quorum.
Mr. President, I move approval.
Second. Abbott Roberson.
Isn't this a public? Okay, this is a public hearing. Do we have anyone to speak for or against this item? You can come up to the mic.
Are there any members?
Any members?
Anyone that wishes to speak for or against the item?
Like the applicant.
The applicant?
Okay.
State your name and address.
State your name and address.
Foster Ware, 618th Street North, Birmingham, Alabama. Mr. Mayor,
You seen this?
Council President Austin, Council on the dais. This is our request to vacate Powell Avenue between 18th and 19th Street behind our Powell Avenue site. The site is part of a plan to connect the vacant lot and that street to provide an urban plaza. That plaza is going to hopefully support the city's Parkside district, as well as complement the nearby Railroad Park, the work that y'all have done to support that, as well as Regentsville and the Rotary Trail. Hopefully it's going to create an exciting new space in the city to encourage frequent visitation and activity in that area. And so that is our request for vacation this morning.
Have anyone else? Okay, do we have any council members that have any questions?
I have my name up.
Okay, Councilman Hart and Councilman Abbott.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Ware, I think this is a great project. I'm certainly thinking it's going to blend in well with what is happening in that area. I'm excited and ecstatic about the possibilities of having some movement with that. I know y'all been working on this for a long time, and certainly would be a great benefit to this city. And so we appreciate Alabama Power investing in downtown Birmingham in a way that I've not seen before. So it's pretty exciting knowing that's what's going to happen, and we'll be able to come downtown and just sit out and see the little water. I think there's a little fountain that goes out and all that good stuff. So I'm ready for it. I am. I'm ready to get my picnic table, my chair rather, because I think y'all already have some tables out there. So I'm just gonna get my chair, and so we can sit out and sip on some water. So I appreciate it.
Okay, Councilman Abbott, I'm sorry.
Yes, Mr. Ware, I know we talked yesterday. Obviously, Mr. Hoyt has a lot more information than I do, because I don't know what this is going to look like. So what I'm interested in is knowing exactly what will be done with the portion of the street that will be vacated by the city. Will it be a plaza? You know, those, that thing with the rock that was in your booklet?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that actually what's going to be constructed, or is that just like this is what might be constructed? Like, do you have drawings of what you're going to do, or have y'all not decided what you're going to do yet?
The drawing that you have in your packet is an architectural rendering. Chuck, if you mind speaking to Councilor Abbott's question.
Certainly. Chuck Pignol, Birchfield Pignol Architects, 2805 Crescent Avenue, Homewood, Alabama. The design process is in the design development phase. The conceptual design has been developed. I believe that the image that you're referring to is an element that's being developed by the landscape architect Nelson Bird and Waltz, and it reflects kind of a geological history of the Birmingham area and is reminiscent of kind of the Red Mountain Cut to try to tell the story of kind of geology background of that critical site as it relates to the city's origins. But that image is representative of the entrance to the park, which is on the southwest corner of that block. The actual area of vacation, Powell Avenue, is a more plaza space where cafe seating for restaurants that may be in the steam plant would be able to spill out onto the plaza. The actual historic component of Powell Avenue from a material paving, all of that will be maintained. That access will be maintained just like it is in Railroad Park, except the brick paving material that was original to the site would be utilized at that location.
Okay, well, that was one of my interests, is the fact that, you know, we had these beautiful brick streets, and I guess they made noise, and so we covered them up with asphalt. But to me, the aspect of the brick is much more attractive, and if you can slow anybody down in this city, it would be a wonderful thing. So I realize nobody's going to be driving over it anymore, but I'd like to go back to all brick streets because then we wouldn't have the speeding that we have. So I'm very interested in the fact that you are interested in saving that brick. And I know that we took all the brick up out of First Avenue South in front of the railroad park, and it's sitting out at the landfill waiting for you to need some of it to finish your project, so.
It would be a brick material very similar to the old Bessemer brick, and it would be that access from 18th to 19th Street that now is occupied by Powell Avenue.
Good, well, thank you.
Councilwoman Scales?
Thank you, Councilor Tyson. Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me just say this because I know that it's going to be a motion after this. I wanted to just inform the council that this project actually came before Economic Development Committee several years ago. This is like an extension or phase, another phase of that project. The only thing that I will say out of respect for the current chair of Economic Development, I will tell you that I'll support this item fully, and the reason being is that you're not asking the city for money. And you come in with an economic development project without asking for economic development incentives, and that makes a difference, because one of the things that I didn't understand really as a first-term council member, we would always talk about how we were giving away tax abatements and we were just basically giving away the city's money. So obviously when I hear that we're not asking for money, we're only asking for vacation of property, then absolutely, then you're gonna grab my attention. Because I think that far too long, as it relates to Alabama Power, they've invested in terms of certain things in the city, but I like where they're going right now, which is actually investing in the neighborhood on a level. I mean, doing events, we're very grateful for that. But now you're putting it in a tangible way, and I hope we heard the word urban, okay? Because that's what's happening, and not sure of which council members have an idea of where Powell Avenue in terms of whose district is in, but nevertheless, out of respect for the chair, the current chair of Economic Development, I know that he needs to be made abreast and his committee. But nevertheless, I do support it, and I'm gonna say that publicly because we have given away a lot from the city of Birmingham, and it's good to see someone wanting to invest into us and understanding that we too can't just give away all of our money. Okay, so I look forward to those little cobblestone roads. Is that what you're talking about, Councilor Abbott? Brick. I call them cobble, but nevertheless, as long as you support it. So I support it, and I know that council members, various council members would, especially the chair, wants to have that information in hand. But nevertheless, I think it's a very excellent project. Glad that you've gotten to a point you can add on to that additional phase so that we can see some other growth out there in that community. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, Ms. Hart?
Madam Chair,
Yeah,
forgive me.
well, and just want to follow up because I know some say not seen the presentation, but I'm not sure where I saw the presentation, but I have seen this before. And I would think that it was a collective group of folk that participated. Huh? Is that right? Okay. Well,
They gave us each a booklet.
Okay, I thought they did. Yeah. So, but I think it's great. But now it has been the spirit of this council that the chairman wants to go through his committee. Then I don't think we're just gonna respect that. But I'm telling you, this is a great project, and we just don't have companies making this kind of investment every day, and particularly ain't asking for no money. I'm real aware of that because we do give a lot, but when we got companies that give back, it certainly makes a difference to me. I don't know about nobody else, but certainly to me. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions?
Councilor Rafferty.
I'm sorry, Councilman Rafferty.
Mr. Ware, and I wanted to thank you because you caught me in my office and we talked about this for about an hour. And I did what I support the project as I told you that day, but I would like to see a bit more information about the two issues we talked about, parking because that's going to bringing even more business into that area, or more visitors, I should say, into the area. You had said that would be an aspect that y'all were gonna bring forward during the design phase, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Also, I'd like to see, when we were talking about, that's a very large building and what to put in it, is an aspect of the history of that section of town. And I'm sure once you start taking off everything we've laid on top of the historical structure, you're gonna be able to find those pieces. And actually, I've seen that in other buildings displayed in the city, and having those markers in there, it also intrigues people to come in and take a look. And also the Eastern Market.
Yes,
Please.
similar to on the East Coast.
Yeah, I think that would be an excellent, and I'm going back up there soon, so hopefully I'll have time to go by and snap some pictures and bring you some ideas.
Okay, thank you.
So, thank you.
Pro Tem Roberson.
Pro Tem Roberson.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, Mr. President. As I've sat back and listened to my colleagues, I think there's still some outstanding information that's needed. Some, like others, I was not privy to a one-on-one discussion as it relates to this project to be brought up to speed. And, you know, Alabama Power is usually always on. But this time, through this process, I have not been privy outside of a actual book of information to get second-handed. And I know that this process, from a corporate perspective, usually is presented in a different manner. I know usually council members are briefed one-on-one, individually, and brought up to speed. I do understand it went through your committee, Councilor Scales, as chairwoman a few years ago. But this chairman here, currently Councilor Lundy, it has not been to his committee. And as President Pro Tem, I would like to at least get the opportunity to sit down with you all and understand more what this vacation is about. I've seen the renderings and things of that nature, but in particular, the details of what's going to take place and how it's going to take place. Am I against the project? I am not. I'm for the project. But I think the educational aspect of understanding what's going to take place is very important for all to understand before we move forward. And so I just want to make sure I'm on record saying that. And I know Alabama Power, Michael, I see Snyderman back there, the PR guy, will always be on. I just want to continue that effort moving forward in the relationship with our city. Thank you.
Councilman Hart.
Yeah, just wanted my last comment because, you know, one thing I've understood, being a counselor almost 9 years now, if I think I passed the 9-year mark, is the fact that the council is a continuing body. You know, somebody plants, one waters, and enough reap the harvest. And we've done that on several projects that persons were not here. And but we trust the work of the committee. That's the work of the committee. Now, I'm for folks being abreast. I think that's important. But I don't want us to miss the understanding that we are a continuing body. And, you know, not everybody was here when Regents Park was first thought to go, but we supported it when y'all got on board. And so this is no different, and it cost us $75 million. This ain't costing us nothing. And we have reservations, but nevertheless, it is what it is. I don't want to sing anybody out because that process has already been vetted to some degree. But we do have a new council that's in place, and you know, I like stuff come to my committee too. And so, but I don't think we delay it any more than a week because I believe we need to move forward with this project because I don't want anything to stop, particularly this going on this good. I'm ready to really sit at the table, and so we can partake of this wonderful place that they are proposing to build and to refurbish. And you all have been so meticulous. I've been watching, you know, my office on the south side, so I've been watching that tower that y'all been refurbishing, and they call it pointing, I think that's what they call, where you go back and, you know, and kind of cultivate the, put new mortar inside the, you know, the layer of the brick and all. So I've been watching you all, and you've done an excellent job. And so again, I commend you. So I'm hoping that the chairman would consider maybe a 1-week delay, and so we can go ahead and move on with this project.
Council President Austin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The project is in District 5, Counselor, and I do support it 100%. However, there are some questions because the city is being asked to be a partner in this project that need to be addressed. And if the chair wants to speak to that, he can speak further to it. But that has been communicated with the power company, with this team that's before us today. They are aware of the questions, and I believe that those can be resolved in the next 2 weeks. I'm pretty certain that they can. There are other questions lingering beyond the scope of this project as it relates to lighting in our communities, in our neighborhoods. Those questions need to be addressed. And we have been discussing it, but I believe that we need to have a little bit more clarity brought to the situation. Now, I know that we are constantly being, we're talking about what is going on in our communities and our neighborhoods, and particularly as it relates to lighting. And the power company, we would like to be a partner with us in lighting and brightening up our communities throughout this city. And so this is just another opportunity for us to discuss it and get some more clarity before we move forward. This is not the first project that has come before this council with the power company. It won't be the last. And so I want to make sure that those questions that have been raised will be answered in a manner that's sufficient to our chairman of economic development, and then we bring it back before the council for us to move forward in unison with the power company. So I have communicated that to representatives of the power company. Mr. Ware is fully aware of all of the issues without me going into any further detail about them, that I think that we can address those. And he has done a fantastic job of trying to keep everyone informed. And I think that he will now, if we vote to delay it, he will have an opportunity to make sure that our pro tem is informed as well. So I don't have a problem with us delaying it. I don't think that it throws off their schedule. And so I'm in support of that, but I just wanted to make that clear. You have Councilor Scales that's wants to speak.
Councilwoman Scales and then Councilman Hodges.
Oh, it's not my third time, it's second. I'm counting, Mr. President. Won't spank me today. All right, so, yeah, I don't take spankings well, but nevertheless, let me ask, is there any type of time constraint in regards to, because the next meeting, and I was just asking the chair of Economic Development, is May 11th, so, that's not gonna have any impact on your project, is it?
We certainly can work within that time frame and look forward to working with all members involved. So.
Okay. All right, and I just wanted to, again, remind the council, this is about the steam plant project and that we all know about. So, and then you will be brought more abreast of it. And the vacation fee, is Alabama Power Company asking for that fee to be waived? You all are paying it. Oh, my goodness. So I surely hope we won't delay on $122,364.05 vacation fee to be paid to the city, because most times, even that too is given away. So, Mr. President, I'm glad that I'm happy for the city, and I'm happy for that being located in your, oh yeah, I am gonna say that because it needs to be said, but nevertheless, since it's not gonna have a time sensitivity to it, that everyone collectively, Mr. Ware, get with the chair. He's a very progressive type of thinking person, and will support it with clear understanding. So I do understand that. But I just wanted to remind the council, this is surrounding that steam plant project. and it's about bringing some economic development project or expansion in that area. So I just wanted to say that, Mr. President, that I'm so glad. I hope there are a lot of other businesses that are taking note that the city of Birmingham is in wonderful need of businesses that want to come and not just make a withdrawal, but a deposit. Because if you keep making more withdrawals than you make deposits, that equals bankruptcy. And Mayor Bell is not going to let that happen, and this council won't either. So, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. And the only thing I ask, Madam Chair, is that once it comes out of committee, that we agree to go ahead and put it back on the agenda, Mr. President, Madam Chair.
Okay, from my consensus, is this it?
Well, I just want to make sure, since the council president mentioned lighting, and yes, I am concerned about lighting, and I would hope that I'd be included on those discussions, because it is dark in Inslee, real dark. Thank you.
Okay, so from what my understanding is that we delay it 2 weeks.
We have to
Conclude.
We have to conclude the public hearing, and then
Okay.
we'll be ready for any motion.
Okay, if it's no more questions, the public hearing, you have that right. Come up to the mic and give your name and address.
3 minutes.
You have 3 minutes.
My name is William Harrell. My address is 5800 Martin Luther Avenue. I would like to thank Alabama Power for investing in downtown Birmingham. Thank you.
Okay, this will end the public hearing. Take it over.
All right, do we have any motions on this item?
Council President Austin,
Councilor Lundy,
I move that we refer this item to economic development at its next meeting.
Second.
Lundy, Abbott.
You need to delay it to a specific date, because otherwise we're gonna have to re-advertise. So you need to delay this is to close the public
May
hearing.
11th,
May the 12th.
May the 12th.
Because otherwise we'll have to re-advertise and go
What
through the
time?
whole 9 yards.
4 o'clock.
Okay.
Yep, 4 o'clock.
But the
Economic
pub-
development.
But the public hearing will be scheduled for reconvene on May the 12th.
Well, let me, hold on. Mr. Clerk, we've already conducted the public hearing. Do we have to?
We talked
have to
about
hold
this,
another one?
that this morning with Attorney Bentley, that we've done it before. We asked
Yeah.
for the hearing and then closed out the hearing, and when we came back,
There
matter
is
of
no
fact, we had to
need
go
for-
to court on a case similar to that the public hearing was concluded, and we didn't
Right.
have to take back up the public hearing, as long as we heard everyone on the day that we had the public hearing.
I know that in the past, we have concluded a public hearing like this, and we convened it at a specific date, because
We've done it 2 different ways, so.
want us to have to
Yeah.
re-advertise again.
We've got both attorneys here, so.
Well, let me just say this, what we're doing is we've concluded the public hearing, so
I
we wouldn't
understand.
reconvene and have another public hearing. Public hearing's over with when it's over. And so, from my understanding, because we've done this before with liquor licenses, it's the same process. You have to have a public hearing, and then you can either vote on it after the public hearing has been concluded, or you can delay action on the item, but the public hearing portion of the item is done. But you can ask the attorney.
Well, this is governed by state law now, so I just want to make sure that we're okay. If you do that, that's.
We like to hear from the attorneys, I mean,
Yes, this is Tracy Roberts with the Law Department. You're correct. The public hearing has occurred. It's closed out. You do not have to take action immediately after the public hearing. You can delay that action to another meeting.
Right.
But that's why I was asking to delay it to a specific date.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking, is delay it to a specific date.
May 12th. Well,
May the 12th would be fine.
let's, hold on just a second. Did you want to refer it to your committee, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, I do.
All right. We have a mover and a second to refer it to the Economic Development Committee.
Well, if you're gonna do a time, you're deferring it to a time certain.
We're not deferring it to a time. We're referring it to the Economic
committee.
Development Committee. All right. There's a mover and a second.
There you go.
How will it appear on the council, though? Somebody's got to
Mr.
put it on the
President,
council agenda.
he's not referring to a date specific for the committee. He's referring to a date specific to come back before the council.
That's right. It's got to
It
appear on the
has to have,
council.
it has to have a date, and I understand what the legal department is saying, but it has to have a specific time date that it comes back, and whether it's the day after, or the first meeting after the
That's
committee
correct.
meeting, so long as it's
It'll be
a
the
time
12th.
specific to come back before the council.
And they say at the 12th.
Okay, so
That's what I'm asking, it's gotta be
It
delayed.
said we said May 12th.
Okay, well,
okay, what date is the committee meeting?
The 11th.
Okay, so it will go before the committee on the
May
11th and
12th.
come back on the 12th here.
that's right. I just wanna make sure that, because we're in charge of putting stuff on the agenda, and we have to make sure that it comes back to the agenda on May the 12th.
We got it. Mr. Clerk, you got it?
Yeah, they're gonna put it back on.
Right,
Okay.
on May 12th.
Just for the hell of it,
We said that.
Good job.
We're ready to vote, Mr. Clerk.
Okay.
Jesus.
And what, with the economic development?
Correct, yeah.
All right. Yes, sir.
May 12th.
Well, Tom has stated that he'll put the item back on. So
On the 12th.
normally when you
Right.
refer an item, it just stays in the committee till they put it back on. But we're gonna defer it in the council, they'll put it back on.
Yes, right.
So how many weeks is that, Lee?
3 weeks.
2 See, all they're doing is the committee's gonna take it up and entertain it. For 2 weeks delay, okay.
Yes.
All right. Voting should be open. Councilmember Scales, Tyson. That vote should be up for 2 weeks.
All right, that item passes. Next item.
Should be item 16. A resolution authorizing the Director of Planning, Engineering, and Permits to issue a condemnation repair permit to Joe F. Callens, the owner or agent of the property located at 2512 Bush Boulevard, Birmingham, which was condemned by the council June the 14th, 2011, in order to remove the weeds and the trash from the premises within 10 days of permit issuance and to commence and make substantial repairs within 30 days of permit issuance. 3 permits having been voided due to lack of substantial repairs.
Mr. President, I move approval.
Abbott, Roberson, Councilor Tyson.
Yes, I wanted to show y'all some pictures of this item. I also wanted to talk about changing the repair permits from, I think it's 4 now, isn't it 4 now, down to 2. I wanted to meet with the law department because they have had 3 permits for this building. And these pictures just took 2 weeks ago? And the dates are on here. And out of 3 permits, they have actually had no repairs done to them. So to just keep giving people permits to continually let abandoned buildings stay in our community, and children are being pulled into buildings, being raped and everything else, drugs being sold out of them. They're being burnt down next to resident houses and houses burned down along with the buildings. It's reaping havoc on the community, and I think it has to stop. And we need to create something to stop it. Especially when you have had ample amount of time to make repairs to these buildings. It has to stop somewhere. That's the reason we are still in the condition we're in on Tuscaloosa Avenue and 13th Street. I almost got hit in the head with a brick. Do you know how far that was up? If it had hit me in the head, I would be dead today because I was out trying to clean my community. And that building been there for the longest, and this one has too. So when are we going to put a stop to this? Are we going to let this keep happening in our community? We have buildings on Tuscaloosa Avenue where we have had a rehab center built, and the people there have had 3 and 4 permits. So when is this gonna stop? And I definitely want to work with the law department to create an ordinance to take it down to 2. And we can tear them down.
Thank you, Councilor. Well, the item that's before us, just like what you were just passing around, is for us to grant a repair permit to the applicant. And you said that this will be their 4th permit?
Yes.
And so all we would do in the instance is if we did not want them to be granted a 4th permit to do repairs, then we would just vote, we would vote no on this item when it comes up for a vote. That's all we have to do. As it relates to you, as it relates to what you were addressing, the other issue regarding the permits and how many, that's something that you can definitely take up in your committee since it falls under PIC.
Yes.
And
bring it before the committee of the whole once you have revised the ordinance or drafted one, and that we can all look at, talk about, and then eventually bring it before the council. And that's something, of course, that would have to be done with some help from the mayor and the law department.
Okay, he has a architect and everything, the owner with him in plans to where they have to repair the building. If we give them this permit, this will be the last permit that you will be given. And you will have 30 days, to actually do a certain amount of work on the, building. And it's just, it's getting out of hand. It really is, it's getting out of hand, Councilman Abbott. And I see it in the neighborhood, and some are getting ready to start, school getting ready to let out. And our young children will be out, and they will be prey on people to pull them in these type of buildings. And it has happened for years. And it's just time for it to stop. If we give you this permit, this is it.
All right. Councilor Rafferty?
Yes, sir, and this is what I brought up, I think, 2 weeks ago when I was asking about the policy, because, first of all, if it's a 30-day report, and I asked, do we do a follow-up report after 30 days? But is that getting to PIC as well, to update them on these? I mean, this is 2011, so for 4 or 5 years, they've been sitting on this property, 3 permits. And that should have already been flagged at 3 permits that it needed to pursue, it needed to move on for demolition. But I'm in agreement with the position of Councilor Tyson. I'm not one to grant another repair permit, only because I'm tired of seeing these 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 years that they've been sitting on a 30-day repair permit and nothing has been done. Not something small or there's an extenuating circumstance, but nothing has been done.
Councilor Hoyt?
Yeah, well, and I'm in agreement because I know that this is an issue throughout the city of Birmingham, but he has his architect here and contractor, I would imagine, and I think he does some of this work himself. And so I am inclined to give another 30 days to see if we made any significant changes there. And if not, then, because I think it's rare that people bring the architect with them. He is a very reputable architect, and so we do know there's a movement. Now, I've seen a little improvement, and I've not had pictures on the inside, Council, like you just showed up. It's in, it's in bad shape. But I know to the outside of the building, I have actually seen some folk working in the last 3 or 4 months. And I know he's been at the neighborhood meeting trying to get them to consider as well. But I am inclined to extend it to a 30-day, and then if there's not been any significant, what's his name, Mr. Callan, then I don't have any other choice but to establish some continuity in what we've been doing, should be doing with respect to these buildings that are just vacant and invite vagrants to to partake. So I'm hoping that this morning we'll give, if the council, the chairs, the committee would be so gracious, since this is in my district, be so gracious to give another 30 days, then I think we might see some significant changes in what he's proposing to do. But that's my plea.
Councilor Scales?
Thank you, Mr. President. One thing I can say for the Chair of Public Improvements is that she is a stickler, and should be, about when a permit is being issued. Obviously, we all saw the pictures. So I see Mr. Darcy behind you. Is he the person that, well, first of all, am I in, okay, Mr. Pro Tem, can I even ask this question too?
Yeah, you can ask the applicant a question this time.
Okay, all right, because is Mr. Darcy who you have contracted to make the substantial repairs?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the reason why I say this is because I remember on Fountain Heights on 16th Street. Won't get too deep into it, but my grandmama waited forever and died, still waiting on these same raggedy apartments to get fixed. And I remember this council awarded another permit, and it is what it is. So I'm really hoping, sir, that if granted this permit, you're going to make substantial repairs. I don't want to say a little work, substantial. That when Mr. Wilkerson comes back and show us these photos, it should be a substantial difference. We want to support you, but you got to support the community, and the community deserves better than that. You see? So that's all that I'm saying, sir, is that I'm at this point now, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I'm going to keep saying that on this dais, because if it's good for one district, it's going to be for all districts. I don't care where it is. I don't care what high-rise, whatever they do in one district. If they want to have a certain look, then they better not have that to come before me, because 30 days is 30 days, not 31 days. And we can't give directives to the mayor's staff, and all of us know that. But by the same token, I'm really hoping that there will be a follow-up immediately, so that in Councilor Hoyt is in his district, that, he's passing through there and able to peek in and see what's going on. But, sir, please don't let the community down, okay? Don't let yourself down. And, Mr. Darcy, I hope that everything is working with him like it should, but we want to see more new wood and a fresh coat of paint. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem.
Thank you, Councilor Scales. Councilor Abbott?
Thank you, Mr. President. Well,
You're welcome.
I am in favor of having a policy and sticking with it. Now, right now, we have this 4 permit policy, and then you're 4 strikes and you're out. If we change it to 3 strikes, the problem that I see from sitting on PIC for a couple of terms is there's too much time. You allocate a permit, and then you never hear from the people again, and then they're back in 2 years wanting another one because they never did anything with the first one. My opinion is we need to look at best practices from other cities that are successful, because we're not successful. We hand out the permits, the people go do nothing, and 5 years later, the junky building is still sitting there. So I'm in favor of developing a better policy that makes these things move quickly. If you come get a permit and you don't do anything, I don't really have a lot of sympathy for you, especially after you've done it 1, 2, 3, or more times. If you don't have the money to fix the property, sell it to somebody who does. But don't just let it cave in a neighborhood where all the residents who actually live there have to look at it and live with it. That's the problem I have with this. So I'm in favor of a new and improved policy. The 4 permits does seem like it's too many if we allow so much time in between those permits. We need to shorten the interval and make something happen. I'm not quite sure how you do it because I'm not the demolition queen, but I think that it would be great if we could fix this problem. We've got neighborhoods in Birmingham that just look like they were bombed out. It's sad. So thank you, and I'm supportive of the PIC chairman in her efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Abbott. I'm calling myself. This is your second time, Councilor Rafferty, my first. I knew at the beginning of this term when Councilor Sheila Tyson was elected and got the appointment to chair the Public Improvement Committee, she'd been an outstanding servant leader to serve that committee because she cares about cleaning up the community. I knew that even before she had the look she had today. And I like it, by the way, Councilor.
Thank you.
She was serious about cleaning up the community. So I am in support of her in that committee, as I formally chaired it, to look at the policy, as my colleagues have expressed, to see how we can expedite and speed this process up. This is Bush Boulevard. This is Councilor Hoyt's district. And my wife might not want to hear me say this today, but I used to date some young ladies that lived off of Bush Boulevard. And back when I went to Bush Boulevard, it was beautiful. A very beautiful area in our community. That some of the esteemed residences lived, that were professionals, that cared about that community. We got to bring it back. And as Councilor Scales mentioned, she mentioned this should be a part of our entire city. And we need the policy to be effective. We need code enforcement to enforce. We need Mr. Willis, those that need to come back and report in 30 days to make sure that the contractors are complying with the law. We need that to work. And I think we are all in support of cleaning up our community. Neighborhoods have got to get cleaned up. I respect Mr. Dorsey you have now behind you, sir. But my thing is, you know, there has to be some order. And it's so important that these contractors in our community that are trying to rehab and improve, you know, housing, to make sure they comply with the law. And I think it was stated earlier, correct me if I'm wrong, if you don't have the funding in place, sell it. Do something else with it. And this location here is a prominent location off a main thoroughfare in that community. And we need to clean it up. And that's District 8. I know 7 needs it, and a lot of capacity, 6. That's a part of the western area. And it's time now we focus on the western area and start cleaning it up. So I know I broadly talked about a lot of things, but I do think, sir, that this is an emphasis from this council that it is important that we stick to policy. Council Chairwoman Tyson, and I hope we can do something to help speed this policy up and improve it from the law department. But please, 30 days, let's make some progress. Thank you. Councilor Rafferty, second time.
Just a quick question. What is the trigger after 30 days? Let's say if there's not significant repairs, and yes, you bring it back to PIC, but what is the action item before the department as far as handling this at the current time?
Once we issue the condemnation repair permit, it goes over to the inspection department. Then once they go out each 30 days and give us a report on the property. If they say no work has been done, then recommend voiding the permit, then we void the permit, then we send out notifications to the owner or contractor.
But then nothing else happens. Does the condemnation permit stay?
No, once it's voided, then we void the permit, then we send it back through the process.
So it starts all over again?
No, it's already in the process. It's where it picks up where it left off at. I'm
okay.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Council. Councilor Rafferty, any more discussion as relates to this item? Councilor Tyson, second time.
I would like to recommend that we pass this time. This will be his 4th one. After that, that's it. 30 days. That's it.
Duly noted, Madam Chairwoman Tyson. We're ready for the vote, Ms. Clerk.
Voting should be open.
Excuse me, can I say something?
Ma'am, we're in the middle of a vote. Excuse me.
That vote should be up.
That item passes. Your last permit has been granted. You have 30 days to comply. That next item?
Item 17. On page 6, a resolution authorizing the Director of Planning, Engineering, and Permits to issue a condemnation repair permit to Brenda Roberson, the owner or agent of property located at 2200 10th Street, Pratt City, Birmingham, which was condemned by the council November the 10th, 2009, in order to remove the weeds and the trash from the premises within 10 days of permit issuance and to commence and make substantial repairs within 30 days of permit issuance, 4 permits having been voided due to lack of substantial repairs.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We have a mover and a second.
I move approval.
Abbott, Parker. All right.
What are we doing?
Council Tyson?
I recommend that we vote no on this item. They have had 4 repair permits and actually have done no work to the property.
All right. Councilor Abbott?
Yeah, and I just wanted to ask, was the last permit number 4 really granted in 2009? Wow. Thank you. That was all I wanted to know.
All right.
Ready to vote?
All right, seeing no other speakers, we're ready to vote.
Voting should be open. That vote should be up, Mr. President.
All right, that item passes, or that item fails. Next item, yes. Would you like to change your vote?
Yeah, I was trying.
Council Scales would like to change hers. Mark her as a no, please.
I got it.
Thank you. Next item.
Thank you. I was trying to stop.
Next
Item
item
18.
should be item 18. A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute documents required for the city to apply for the Alabama Department of Transportation fiscal year 2015 Transportation Enhancement Program grant in the amount of $400,000 for projects such as the historic improvements ongoing to the Empire Building, John Hand Building, and the Brown March Building, with improvements including ADA ramp and crosswalk upgrades, sidewalk improvements, beautification and landscaping, and pedestrian lighting.
Mr. President, I move approval.
Abbott Roberson, all right. You have any speakers? Council Hoyt.
Yes. Let me understand what we're doing here. Now, we're gonna apply for a grant in the amount, or we've already received this grant?
We are applying for a grant.
For $400,000?
Yes, sir.
So the grant itself is a $400,000 grant?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and I guess my next question, then are we gonna do the work and hope to get the money back from, what's the name, or we're not gonna do anything until we get the money?
That's correct.
That's all I wanna know.
That's correct.
Okay, very good. I'm with that program.
All right, I just had one other question. Council Hoyt asked, that was part of it. The other one, Mr. Bittis, is at some point before this comes back before us, if we're hopefully successful with receiving the grant, I would like to know what's going on that corner, because I have not been informed about anything going on over there.
Yes, sir.
And so this is my first time hearing about it, but I walk past it every single day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So just hopefully we're successful, and before it comes back, I'd just like to just
Yes,
get
sir.
an update.
If we receive the grant, we're gonna have to, hire engineers to design the project and landscape architects. So I will get with you this week, Counselor, to give you some concepts.
Okay,
But we haven't even started the design. We need to get the grant first.
yeah, all right, that's fine. Do we have any other speakers to this item? All right, we're ready to vote, Mr. Clerk. We have a mover in a second.
Voting should be open. That vote should be up, Mr. Chair.
All right, that item passes. Next item.
Item 22. A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a guaranteed energy cost savings agreement for lighting equipment with Phillips Lighting North American Corporation, under which Phillips will provide certain lighting products and related services for the city in an amount not to exceed $3,046,510, and not to exceed a term of 20 years. And there's been a request for a 1-week delay on this item.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I move for a 2-week delay.
Second.
Okay, can I ask a question, Mr.
Yeah,
President?
go ahead. Motion is
So-
before us.
Yeah, so what is the purpose of this?
Parking deck lighting.
This project is part of the, it's several phases project, but this one is dealing specifically with, lighting in the parking decks. There also will be.
Which parking decks?
All of the city-owned parking decks. And and that's just the first phase. There will be another phase, that will deal with, lighting on the interstates. And then there will also be a phase dealing with lighting throughout the city, which what I referenced earlier. And parks. And the reason, and the question was asked, and I'll just say it again for the record. The question was asked at a committee meeting, why are we going with the parking decks first and not with the communities, not with the neighborhoods? And it's because we have not received all the information back from Alabama Power on the lights that they currently own, that are either on or not, but we're still paying for it. And we don't know to what extent that actually is occurring throughout our city, nor do we know where every single light is that is owned by the power company, so that we can go and adequately address the lighting issues in our community. So once we get
They're conducting a survey right now of all of the lights. Basically, they're counting all the lights in the city, and once we get that information back, then we'll be able to move forward with the lighting in the community, which is why I raised the issue on a previous item regarding specifically lighting, because we need to get that from the power company. They have that information, no one else does, and we're waiting to get that from them right now. And that was one of the issues that I had. So the reason why we're doing the parking decks first is because we do not have that information yet to go into our neighborhoods. And that question was raised by one of Council Tyson's assistants a few weeks ago, or it's probably been maybe a month and a half ago. All right, so.
Yeah, because I'm very concerned. You know, with more and more folk coming, there's been an influx of folk coming to 5 Points West and that area for the crossplex and what have you. It just seems to me that, you know, I don't think we need an assessment of the lights that are out in as much as we already know where these lights are out and where lighted need to be increased. But, you know, I'm in favor of the neighborhood being first, but.
Me too.
Because, I mean, we got folk on staff who can do that, drive at night. You got folk who work at night. They can drive through and see how dark it is and make that assessment. But you know, I'll wait for a report, but I'm just I'm long overdue for some lighting. That's all I'm saying, Mr. President.
Well, Council,
I'm gonna depend on you to have that.
Excuse me, Council, if you don't mind, just allow me to respond to one thing. You are correct that there are lights out. The issue is who owns those lights. And we know that they're out, but we've got to determine who owns all those lights. There was a preliminary report given to us that the city owns about 7,000 lights. The power company owns 23,000. Some in the neighborhood of that. I don't know exactly what the total amount was, but it was something like that. So I would certainly not assume that all 7,000 lights that the city owns are in District 8.
Oh, no, indeed not.
So
we could use them, though.
Well,
If they were owned.
if they were owned by the city. So what we need to do is we have been trying to get this done for months, longer than that. It's been over a year that we've been asking for this information from the power company. And so I have had a few meetings with them regarding getting that report and getting it done as quickly as possible. And I have been told and assured by the power company that they are working expeditiously to get that done for us. But I just want an update. Okay. And when we get that, I'll be sure that you are involved in that that meeting. That's what it takes.
Thank you.
But I want so that everyone will be informed. We just need to make sure that we're doing what's best for our citizens. Councilor Rafferty?
Yeah, and this hadn't been before transportation yet. We were still waiting on the input, but it does not, just to let you know, the contract that was brought before the committee last night does not include all of the parking decks or all of the city parking lots. So there's still a lot of questions, and the parking authority hasn't been addressed. And I'm really, at this point in time, I'm really interested on the interstate lighting, because going east, and Councilor Scales, I bet you've noticed this too. Once you pass 2059, there are no interstate lights, period. And that's been going on for years and years and years, and we always get the same excuses, but we never see any resolution. Yep. So, and not to disparage the neighborhood thing, because that is number one, but I'm aggravated at the incompleteness of the report and that we have been waiting so long, and trying to move this before the council without us being properly informed or following due process is very aggravating.
My last question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Councilor Rafferty. Duly noted mentally about you bringing that up, because my name was up, and even though I don't preach this all the time about lights, we too, against what some members may believe, we out in the dark too in the east side of Birmingham. And I'd love to be in the meeting. All y'all gotta do is tell me, not the day of, but tell me. And I'm gonna show up. And the reason being is because we have an issue right now on Brewster Road, which is in the Spring Lake community, and been going back and forth. It presents really a public safety issue. That's what it is. And so we want our share of lights too on Carson Road and all our nice little roads, Mr. President. And so with that having said, I am willing to work with all parties involved to make sure that our area is kept on the forefront, because that was the thing I found to be interesting, is that, Mr. President, are we saying, I thought that on the interstate, the state of Alabama is responsible for that. I would hope to think this doesn't have to come out of this pot of money that we're approving today. Okay, because I can tell you, what Councilor Rafferty is speaking of is when you go out 20 East, and just as you pass the airport, it's very, very dark. And then you come on up Parkway East outside of the title owned and payday places that light up the road. We need some real lights on Gaston Highway and Parkway East. We've been talking about that pole since I've been a council member, as we said they were outdated. So I'm very hopeful that this contract is going to move us forward in the correct direction so that we can start righting the wrong. It's kind of hard to, do a crime or commit a crime and you're in the light, okay? And that's the reason why most burglaries take place at night instead of during the day. Do they occur during the day? Absolutely. But that light always has a way of making darkness go away, okay? Because darkness is a friend to the criminal. And so for those of us who want to live, we want some lights and we want to be lit. And so I'm not going to jump on Councilor Hoyt's bandwagon. And Mr. Bryant, don't quote me. So we want him to get instantly some lights. But I want the east side of Birmingham. You know, they said the sun rises in where? The east, sun sets in the west. I want to feel like I'm sunsetting and sun rising in the eastern side of Birmingham too. Okay, Hoyt, I'm not going to steal your stilo. That's a cultural vernacular. But I want to see some lights, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hoyt.
Yeah, I think we all need that laugh. I'm trying to think what I had. Oh,
You want to come back?
no. I was just going to say, unlike most boards that we have within the city proper, this is one that generates revenue. And I want to know, what are they doing to improve parking? And so I don't want us to take on the whole burden of lighting these parking lots, even though I know we own them, but they got a board over there, they spend millions of dollars every year, and they generate millions of dollars on parking. So what are they doing with that money? Does that money come back to this general fund?
Yeah,
Okay.
it does.
Do they get a chance to direct any of those dollars to any capital improvement project? Or do they have projects on their own? Mr. Tom?
No, and I believe the formula is they give us half of their net income.
Half of their net income.
Right.
Okay, then they ought to be paying half of this lighting that's going on.
But this will generate cost savings from the electric bill, and that money will be used to pay for these new lights. And then when those are paid for, then we reap the benefit of the cost savings from that point on.
But I just want the council to be mindful that they do generate income with this board. And, you know, they have very little accounting that goes on just once a year. You know, I know we always want the airport to come up here and report theirs. They need to report theirs too.
Councilor Rafferty?
Thank you. And in defense, first of all, of the parking authority, they do come and present theirs to the Transportation Committee, their budget. This item was not brought to the attention of the Parking Authority Board, and that's why I refused to allow it to go to my committee until the Parking Authority Board actually addressed the contract, because this was created solely within the administration, and they did not engage the parking authority at all. And that's the other reason why I want to move for a delay on this item, so that the board has a chance to speak to the issue that's before us. And also, I wanted to let you know that on our interior lights, we may have 7,000 in the city. What I want to know is, why are we not inventorying our own stuff? Because how come we don't pull out a list where every pole that we own is not on the magic list? And to me, that's a fault of our own. Although we can be frustrated that Alabama Power's not generating the list, but we didn't do our part either on our own inventory. So I just wanted to make those two statements. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I'll close out. I wouldn't say that we don't know what we have. I don't know if, I would not say that we don't know. I think the problem is we don't know what we don't have. And that is what we really need to get addressed. And so that's just taking time because we don't own those lights. But I am 100% for the neighborhoods. The mayor even said during his State of the City address, I think it was this year or last year, but he was talking about that he wanted to focus his attention this term on our neighborhoods and on our communities. And that is what he is attempting to do by working with this lighting project. He's trying to make good on that promise that he committed to doing. And I know that each one of us up here are committed to working on our communities as well. And so I would hope that we get this information as quickly as possible so that we can go and actually turn the lights on in our communities. And I will say this in closing, that while we're spending about $500,000 a month on lights that we don't know if they're on or not, we do know that when you turn the lights on, we will address several issues, but one very important one is also economic development, bringing more business to our communities, as well as the power company will benefit from having more businesses coming to the city. So it would behoove them to get that information to us as quickly as possible so that we can start turning our communities around. Councilor Tyson?
Yes, right there on Tuscaloosa Avenue and 13th Street where the bricks falling off the building at. It's a light need to be behind Family Dollar because they're snatching pocketbooks over there. I guess the bricks are gonna bust you in the head, then they gonna snatch your pocketbook because there's no lights there to see. So we need a light there.
Yeah.
All right.
Mr. President, yeah, my last comment, because I think we don't have to wait until we get an assessment of the lights to increase some of the lighting, because some of the lighting is blocked by vegetation. And so it would behoove us to have horticulture or public works to go through and trim back some of these trees, and we might realize some lighting that that's not realized now because it has the propensity to block the maximum light. So that's something we can get done today, not wait until that comes, because that's going to help us in our assessment. And we might have more light than we think if we just get the trees, kind of topped off. So, and that, you could start in 5 Points West. We've done some, but we just need some more.
Okay. Well, there's a 2-week delay on the table right now. On the floor, Mr. Clerk.
Voting should be open. That vote should be up, Mr. President.
That item passes. Next item with the 2-week delay.
Item 24 it has been requested to be withdrawn.
Okay.
And next, item 25, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a right-of-way use agreement whereby the University of Alabama Board of Trustees, on behalf of the University of Alabama at Birmingham, is allowed to install 3 vaults and chilled water pipelines in the subsurface right-of-way of 7th Avenue South between 14th Street South and 18th Street South for the UAB Hill Student Center within the city of Birmingham rights of way.
We have a move.
Mr. President, I move approval.
Second.
All right, the item is before us. Do we have any speakers or motion? Move for a 2-week delay.
Second.
Ready to vote, Mr. Clerk?
All right, 1 second here. All right, voting should be open.
It is going through your committee.
Hoyt, Lundy. Lundy's out. Councilmember Hoyt. That vote should be up.
All right, that item passes for a 2-week delay. Next item.
Should be item 32. A resolution that the city council recognizes that advertising and promoting the city of Birmingham on a sign at a school or community athletic stadium is recognized form of medium pursuant to 11-47-9 Code of Alabama, 1975.
We have a mover and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Roberson, Scales, Council Scales.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you don't mind, at this time, if I can have Tracy Roberts with the Law Department to speak to this item, because the Law Department actually formed or developed this resolution. And let me just say this. This item is very simple. It's not complicated. As a matter of fact, all it is addressing is that when council members want to support community athleticism or a school, that if they have a stadium, we now, because we are taking corrective measures to make sure that we comply with Alabama state law. All this does is to say that the council recognizes that this is a form of advertisement in which we agree to as the city can do. So is nothing deep. There's no, I've heard some little talk about zoning and all that. Is not that. All it is that if you choose to put up a sign at any type of athletic stadium, that this now gives us the permission to enter into a contract with the Board of Education or that community to be able to do that as a sign. Otherwise, if you try to engage, which we've had many athletic programs to come before the council, whether it be community or school, and they say, well, can you help us by supporting us through a sign or whatever? All this is addressing that so that you don't have an issue with that. But, Mr. President, if the Law Department can speak to it, because they're the one that brought it to my attention and wrote it. So it's not like the Law Department is unfamiliar with it.
All right, Councilor Abbott.
Well, yeah, because my question about this is there was no resolution in my packet for me to read and find out what this is all about. So that was the first question. No copy of the resolution, and maybe
This is right here.
It's right there, item 32.
well, in my electronic packet, I could not find it. So I wanted to read the resolution first, but all signage is covered by the city's zoning ordinance. There's a sign section. And so my other thought was that this needed to go to committee because we're in the process of rewriting the zoning ordinance. We've had 2 workshops on it attended by various members of the council, and the sign ordinance is going to be changed. So how does this fit in with the sign ordinance that we have now, and how is it going to fit in with the changes that we're making? So those were my 2 questions. Number 1, where's the resolution? Number 2, how does this fit in with the zoning ordinance? And I assume that the Law Department has an answer to that question.
Yeah, Tracy Roberts with the Law Department. This resolution would determine that a particular form of advertising is a recognized form of medium. It does not authorize a particular sign or.
You speak in the microphone.
I'm sorry. It doesn't authorize a particular sign, so it should not create any problems with the zoning ordinance. Each sign would have to be authorized as you go. This is just recognizing this form of advertising as a recognized form of medium. And 1147.9 of the Alabama Code allows the city to advertise and promote its resources using recognized form of mediums. There's generally recognized forms, which would be radio, television, billboards, magazines, newspapers. You get outside of that, and the council has the authority to recognize other mediums as recognized form of mediums, and that's what this resolution, at the request of Councilor Scales, is purporting to do.
Okay, so you're saying that these are like temporary, like a banner that you hang on a,
They come in various
but it's not a
forms.
permanent sign,
Not
it's
a permanent
something
sign. This would be-
temporary.
I'm sorry.
So I assume that Mr. McGee has looked at this and that there's no problem with it. Mr. McGee has never seen it before. Well, I would think that the law department would contact the department that's affected before this ends up on our agenda, since y'all handled it.
Right.
So Counselor Scales said they handled it. Y'all handled it and you forgot about the
Because
PEP?
You want Councilor Scales to respond?
Well, all I want it to be done is done right. I mean, I don't care who is doing what with whom, but it strikes me, we have a zoning ordinance, we have a sign section, it covers permanent signs and it covers temporary signs. So Mr. McGee or his staff members should be involved in an ordinance or a resolution regarding signage within the city limits of Birmingham.
Mr. President, may I speak?
Well, I think Mr. Bentley's going to answer. He looks like he's going to.
I hope I can offer some clarity. What this does is just recognize that this is a possibility. You don't have an issue that's implicating the zoning ordinance by recognizing that 1147.9 allows you to advertise, and you may advertise via signs. We don't need to go to the zoning to recognize that. If you had before you a contract to put one in a particular place, then that would be an occasion to talk to zoning. But all this does is connect the council with the state legislature in recognizing that a municipality may advertise and may advertise using signage.
Okay, so any sign that would be put up would have to come before the council? Is that what you're saying? A contract to put up, you'd have to have a contract first, so a councilman couldn't even put up a sign because you'd have to have a contract to have the sign put up, so it will come back to the council and it would go through zoning.
But, Mr. President.
Exactly.
Okay.
All the other aspects of the signage would have to be considered.
Yeah, because we already have willy-nilly signs popping up on convenience stores and tied to our city signs in the city by people that own convenience stores. So we have lots of things that pop up. I just don't want to see things popping up because my personal opinion is our signage is out of control in Birmingham and we need to get some control. And I just don't want to see it cause an additional problem as far as signage goes, that we've got too much and it's in the wrong places.
What we have done, Counselor, does not implicate that concern that you just voiced.
Okay. Well, I'm fine. That's good then. And the school board is okay with this?
Yes, Madam Chair, and then at the appropriate time, Mr. President, I can speak.
Mr. Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. President. And when I first saw the item, it kind of opened my eyes a little bit, and as it relates to signage. And Councilor Scales knows this as well as I do. I've sold multiple signage for sporting events in stadiums, in particular, Legion Field, and we've seen the city of Birmingham acknowledged in decorative signage around with wraps around the stadium. I've seen different high schools sell sponsorships or corporate sponsorships to promote different companies, i.e. insurance companies, your local car dealer, and things of that nature. It was very unique. My quandary was I just hadn't heard anything about it until today. And I think you as the presenter of this item, we talk often, and me understanding how signage is utilized to help market the city and other areas. I think I got more clarity now since I've heard the law department. And not only that, that negotiation of that process is with that individual and that party, the actual contract. So there's two-party negotiations as it relates to how an actual signage will be placed and negotiated. So if you want to go, i.e. to Huffman High School and that new beautiful stadium they have on campus there, as a council member for the city of that district, you would go negotiate that contract with the Board of Education, correct? And the athletics department and the athletics director of that school to get permission to place signage. And is that kind of how that process would go?
Yes, sir. This ordinance is only intended to authorize the city to contract for this type. It doesn't authorize other people to use signs in this particular way. This addresses the city's ability to contract advertising in a particular way.
Okay. So that being said, thank you, Attorney. Councilor Scales, give me an example of how you would see this working.
As a matter of fact, because Counselor, I actually, Ms. Pro Tem, I came by your office this morning because I didn't think it would be controversial, and the reason being is because all of us get calls in the office and say, can you help us with X athletic program? And then they'll say, we'll put up a banner for your district. Well, when I was talking to the law department about it, I understood at that point that no, the council has the first say that they recognize this as a medium in which you want to advertise. So I said, oh, okay. And what I did, I shared with Mr. Attorney Roberts that rather than just doing it for myself, I'm always thinking about the council as a whole. So I said, we need to make this where any council member, that if they so decided to want to support, whether it be a little league, if you notice, Councilor Abbott, that's why I made sure if you all read the resolution, it says is limited to a school or a community athletic stadium. And then anything else after that would be left to the city to negotiate or however for us to even enter into a contract. But as we know it now, everything we do, we have to enter into an agreement. Well, Mr. Roberts had me to understand no need really to have an agreement if you haven't first recognized that this is a form of medium that you choose to support in your community. So really it's trying to help us to streamline the process. Is just a sign, whatever the sign is or the signage is. This is not for a business. This is only community projects, meaning community or school-related projects that we are recognizing that if we choose to support the schools in this area, that the council as a body has deemed that this is appropriate.
So now that you've took up my other 30 more seconds.
Sorry,
No, so
forgive
problem.
me.
I did ask for that question, Council. I would like to, just for more clarity, as chairman of Planning and Zoning, if you don't mind, to come present this to my committee so we can just understand what this, I get what you're trying to do. I just want to understand more about how this works within municipal facilities and how we will utilize signage so I can understand whether it's,
I have mine.
I think you have another speaker. Thank you.
Councilor Hoyt, your second time.
Yes. This is an interesting day, nonetheless. In the Shakespeare vernacular, this is much to do about nothing. You know, we could use the signage to promote 100 Days of Nonviolence if we are doing that in the schools. We have signage for special events that are taking place in our parks and even in our schools. I think imaging purposes to say that the city council supports a particular school certainly says to parents and patrons that we are concerned about our schools and what have you. We see it all the time. There's a big old sign every year. I used to be able to put my stuff up there, but it don't happen no more. But part of what the purpose, we put it on this catwalk across the way. You know, you don't have to have a rule for every single thing. You know, we're not trying to micromanage everything that we do, because what you're going to essentially do is put yourselves out of business, quite frankly, with some of the stuff that I've seen come before this council in recent days, if not months. But I think this is much ado about nothing. You know, I mean, we can committee everything if we want to, but there's been a lot of stuff to come through here. We don't committee nothing. And this is my note, in my opinion. And we spent thousands of dollars on trying to change the image of the council meeting and all this other stuff, signage. But you don't need a resolution to do that. But all it does, it gives us an opportunity to say the city is on board with our schools, and we certainly need we just had all this stuff. You know, the city needs to say that we support, what was the group, the last group that came before us? The broken something, what is it? Need my glasses. Well, the Gear Up. You know, the Birmingham City Council supports Gear Up. You know, these are the things, as I see it, you know, and it doesn't take, you don't have to be intellectual to understand that. I think it's very common, and sometimes education is supposed to make us more common than complex. But what I see is complex, and it is not the order of society, because it's the common folk that we receive.
Mr. Protein? Council Skills?
All I'm saying, Council, respectfully, is that when we were at the retreat, and I want to thank you, Mr. President, as well as central staff for the work you all put together. A part of the retreat really is all that this resolution is, because the law department basically have Mr. Roberts worked us. Let me just say that, and not in a bad way, but things that we've been doing in the past, what the law department is saying, we want to bring you into compliance with the law. So really, we're already doing certain things. All we want to do is to make sure that we comply by in form of a resolution to say that we agree, because you're already doing it. You're just in compliance now with the law. So we're only talking about advertising. We're not talking about the size of the sign, none of that. All we're saying is that this is a recognized form of media, that the council as a body, now the minutes will reflect that we agreed that we will support this particular form of advertising for the city. That's all.
All right, Mr. Clerk, we're ready to vote.
Voting for the bill.
It was moved. We already had moved a second.
You vote yes on item?
Yes.
Councilmember Abbott. That vote should be up.
All right, that item passes. Next item, Mr. Clerk, should be item 50.
I'm sorry, 50?
Yeah, that should be the next item, item
Yes.
50.
Item 50, which is on page 15, a resolution approving the following expense accounts. Roy Colson, Assistant to the Mayor's Office, Washington, D.C., $1,626.98. March 8th through the 11th, 2015, to attend Sister Cities International. Jacqueline French, Committee Assistant, City Council, Prattville, Alabama, $219.10. March 26th through the 28th, 2015, to attend Mayor Council Retreat. Zola Hall, Committee Assistant, City Council, Prattville, Alabama, $173.10. March 26th and the 27th, 2015, to attend Mayor Council Retreat. Connie Horn, Records Management, City Council, Prattville, Alabama, $173.10. March 26th through the 28th, 2015, to attend Mayor Council Retreat. Stephen Hoyt, Councilor, City Council, Prattville, Alabama, $219.10. March 26th through the 28th, 2015, to attend Mayor Council Retreat. Courtney Hunter, Committee Assistant, City Council, Atlanta, Georgia, $401.25. January 21st through the 23rd, 2015, to attend Environmental Protection Agency Federal Interagency Meeting. Courtney Hunter, Committee Assistant, City Council, Washington, D.C., $2,293.27. March 6th through the 11th, 2015, to attend the National League of Cities. Courtney Hunter, Committee Assistant, City Council, Prattville, Alabama, $219.10. March 26th through the 28th, 2015, to attend Mayor Council Retreat. Kimberly Jenkins, Committee Assistant, City Council, Prattville, Alabama, $219.10, March 26th through 28, $2,015 to attend Mayor Council Retreat. Chaz Mitchell, Deputy Administrator, City Council, Prattville, Alabama, $219.10, March 26th through 28, 2015, to attend the Mayor Council Retreat. Kiera Morrow, Public Information Officer, City Council, Prattville, Alabama, $219.10, March 26th through 28, 2015, to attend Mayor Council Retreat. Kimberly Rafferty, Council, City Council, Prattville, Alabama, $219.10, March 26th through 28, 2015, to attend Mayor Council Retreat. James Robertson, Councilor, City Council, Prattville, Alabama, $173.10, March 26th and the 27th, 2015, to attend the Mayor Council Retreat. LaShonda Scales, Councilor, City Council, Prattville, Alabama, $219.10, March the 26th to the 28th, 2015, to attend the Mayor Council Retreat. Christopher Scott, Committee Assistant, City Council, Prattville, Alabama, $173.10, March the 26th and the 27th, 2015, to attend the Mayor Council Retreat. And Brittany Sharp, Public Information Officer, City Council, Prattville, Alabama, $219.10, March 26th through 28th, 2015, to attend the Mayor Council Retreat.
All right, do we have a mover and a second?
Move the item.
Roberson, Parker. Ready to vote, Mr. Clerk?
Voting should be open. That vote should be open.
That item passes, one no vote from Councilor Abbott. I have one other item for unanimous consent. It's travel for Carletta Walker, Officer, Police, Plano, Texas, $2,475.26, May 3rd through 8th, 2015, to attend Institute for Law Enforcement Administration Culture Diversity Training. Move the item.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, move the item again.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, that passes. I'm going to ask the council.
Did we do 55?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask the council that we suspend our reports. We're about to run out of time on our tape. We do have 5 speakers. So we'll go ahead and hear the speakers, and we're probably gonna be out of time.
Mr. President, let me ask you, because
First
several
speaker.
people have called me and said
Teresa McQueen.
that we're not seeing the council meeting in a timely manner. Now, I'm not saying this for me, because, I don't have cable, that's a luxury, so I'm just saying. But they do have some folk who like to watch the council meeting.
State your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
Teresa McQueen, 4941 Avenue, Aura, Birmingham, Alabama, 35208. I'm reminding about the scripture, Luke 18:1, where Jesus said, man ought to always pray and not faint, don't give up. And I'm here about the ditch again, the ditch and the trees cross in front of my house. Last year and about 3 years ago, I first put in Mr. Lupo and Alabama Power. They're swinging over my street, and I'm constantly going out of my driveway, coming in my driveway, seeing these trees swinging over the little narrow street in front of my house. And I'm just afraid that one of those things gonna crack and harm me very badly. And I came down last year, and Mr. Hart, you had heard me say that it had been 3 years then, and this is the 4th year that I've been trying to get something done about those trees swinging over the street. Is a narrow street in front of my house, and I just certainly wish somebody would, put forth an effort to do something about it. One of the supervisors from Public Works did come out to my house after I was down here last year, and I hadn't heard anything else from him. And also the ditch have grown up, and nobody's cutting it. Me and my neighbor, we gets out there cutting grass. It's beautiful down in that area, but we can't do everything. And those trees really need, if you would come out and look at them, they're just constantly swinging. And some of them are riding trees. Some of them have broken off before, and they had to come out and clean it up. And I'm just afraid, leaving out my driveway, those trees will fall on me. And by living on this dead end, I'm not getting the attention down in that area like I should. The street sweepers don't come down. I have to get out there with a broom if I want my street swept. And the waterworks board came and fixed a leak about a month ago. and they left gravel and trash and dirt in the street. I went out there trying to sweep it up because I want a clean environment too down in that. I'm the only house down there. And we try to keep it as clean as possible. You know, cutting the grass and wooded areas, empty lots, but other people are not doing their job. And I just wish that, you know, I could get more cooperation.
Okay. Can you, Mr. President, can I speak to it? Yeah. Well, Ms. McQueen, I thank you for coming because, you know, as a matter of fact, this is probably the third time that you reported this.
Yes.
And because I remember going to a neighborhood meeting and coming back and filling out we did the email to the various departments. But I think the difference is today we have this wonderful chief of staff by the name of Mr. Jarvis Patton, who's here, and he hears you. What is your address?
4941 Avenue Aura, Birmingham, Alabama 35208 in the Central Park area.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Patton. You're so kind.
And I would like to say there was some trucks over in my area on the corner from me last week, and they were sitting up in there just parked. And I said, are you all finna start cutting the grass over in this area? He said, well, we're gonna try. But I left and came back and they was gone. The next day I saw another truck sitting up there on the other corner with men in there not doing anything.
Okay, I think Mr. Fancher would be interested in that. I think you need to get that camera phone out and take some pictures, because I think he would deal with that. Yeah. But Mr. Patton, can we help this lady? And let me just share with you.
Real brief, because we're going to run out of time.
All right. Her grandson is a student at Berea College, and he's an emerging scholar. Kenneth McQueen lives in my district that I try to support. And so this is his grandmama. I don't want him sending me an email telling me, Councilman Hoyt, you're not helping my folk. Okay? So can we help Ms. McQueen?
Thank
you. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Next speaker. Johnny Wright. Mr. Wright.
All right, next speaker.
Willie Jenkins.
Mr. Jenkins. State your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
Mr. Willie Jenkins, 1620 25th Avenue North. I'd like to say, under God here, my life, Mr. Parker, that Miss Minnie Money had a birthday. Go down to church, Oak Street Baptist Church. She's been turned 99 years old, but she turned 100 for her birthday, but she passed yesterday. And my prayers go out to Miss Minnie Money from Oak Street, our own Oak Street Baptist Church, Mr. Parker. And also Larry Van Horn, Miss Louise Yeldale. And Larry Van Horn, his first wife, you know, mother, passed. It's gonna be Friday at Liddy Baptist Church, and my prayers go out to that family. And also, I would like to say happy birthday to Gail Rosso, celebrating her birthday at East Pilsen Valley Refrigerator Center this coming Saturday. She celebrating 60 years old, celebrating her birthday, and I would like to say, you know, my prayers go out to one pass and Miss Money. And Ina Simpson, I did go to Mr. Simpson on the barbershop downtown, and I did go to that service last week. And Miss Money and Mr. Simpson. And I would like to say, Mr. Parker, this is something I went down there and I said, Councilor William Parker, it is something I went down there in the trophy place, and I thought about you, and also had the mayor some faithful things possible through faith. I did that because my heart told me to do that. You know, you work hard in the community, Cottesville, and I said, well, you know, I thought about you, and I said, well, I'm going to do this. The Lord told me to do it, and I said, well, I am going to do it. Community in Cottesville, and I can't wait till the overpass and the swimming pool. Cause I used to go in that swimming pool back in the day at Cottesville. You know, when I was swimming pool, and I used to swim, you know, go out there swimming back in the Cottesville. And I think you're doing a wonderful job in the community, and I just want to say God continue to bless you And keep on, and I want to let all y'all know we having our Men's Day, 4th Sunday in May. Reverend Tyson gonna speak our Men's Day at Oak Street Baptist Church, the 4th Sunday in May. We went to Mount Zion and Mount Zion and Evergreen. Police Chief Johnny Johnson sang with her. But I'd like to say we still gonna have the reunion this year, the first week in October. We're looking out for that, for the class reunion. And I'd like to present this to Mr. Park, Council William Parker.
We're gonna take it as soon as we'll take a picture
Okay,
up here. We just want.
Oh,
I think
okay,
we're on the time.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins.
Oh, okay.
We
Hey,
appreciate
real quick, Mr. President, on the notion about the cable issue, I think we had received a couple of emails.
Yeah.
Notifying us that about it not being on TV. So I think that.
Yeah. We'll talk about it after council. We need to get out. We need to. Hold on, Mr. Jenkins. Next speaker.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a picture, y'all.
Next speaker.
Brother Cedric has.
Brusset, state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes. Stick to your 3 minutes, Brusset. We got to get out of here before the
My
tape
name
run
is
out.
Cedric Hatcher. I'm gonna try to close out within that time. I resigned at 2300
Bless you.
5th Avenue North. This morning, Saints and Aints, City Council and the Mayor, I got one subject, one name. The name, Brother Larry Langford. The subject, free Larry Langford. Just want to give you a little background about Brother Larry Langford, you know, just in case you don't know him. Remember Larry Langford, get on 2059, going on past Erie Town, look to the right. There's a little theme park called Vigilant. Brother Larry did that. Come on back through Fairfield, stop through Fairfield, all that beautification you see out there. Brother Larry did that. Going over there to Fair Park and see that big old park over there in the Fair Park complex. Brother Larry played part in that. Going on downtown Birmingham now, the Cooper Green Hospital, and look at that nice looking hospital that Bull Cunham closed down. Brother Larry did that. Come on downtown to the district and all this stuff that's going on. Brother Larry did that. Matter of fact, this current mayor is gleaming off of Brother Larry Langford, if you want to know the truth. When you don't see them city workers sleeping in the truck no more and getting drunk and all that kind of stuff, Brother Larry, remember 38, tear the house down? Larry Langford did that, y'all. Larry Langford, why should we free Larry Langford? Because he too left did the time for his petty crime. Petty crime. He did his time, y'all. He did his time. Ain't it funny? I told Brother Larry when I used to come down here and go back there in that office with him, Brother Larry, let me just be real with you. When you run out of money, you ain't gonna have no honey. When you run out of ends, you ain't gonna have no friends. Ain't it sad, y'all? We throw him under the truck now. I hear somebody right now saying, Brother Larry Brusset broke the law. You did something wrong too. Remember when Paul said, all, not y'all, but all have sinned and come short. Ain't it funny when a brother fall down, we don't try to pick him back up? I ain't heard Larry's name and I don't know when. All the good work that man did. I'm getting on out here with this last comment. Y'all remember the prayer thing he did over at Fair Park and down at the Boutwell? Can I tell you why Larry was doing that there? Larry brought the family together, then he brought the men together, then he brought the kids together and all that kind of stuff. Let me tell you why. Because Larry was looking swell, he was dressing well, but Larry knew if he didn't get saved, he was on his way to hell. Now, let me tell you something else about Larry before I close out. When I would see Larry out in public on 4th Avenue and in Titusville and all that kind of stuff, he had no squad with him, no bodyguard and all that kind of stuff. He was by himself. Because Larry knew he wasn't no damn Michael Jackson or no President Obama. He didn't need no security team following him. He was by himself. So don't forget about Larry, y'all. And Larry wasn't going taking photo ops with all them other folks. I ain't gonna say what folks, y'all know what folks I'm talking about. I'm over here with the folk. Pretty soon I'm gonna look on a deck of cards and it's gonna be a picture on the back. Gonna say King Bill.
Next speaker.
Ashanti Shabazz.
I have some pamphlets for the council.
State your name and address for the record.
A.B. Ashanti Shabazz, 2211 Bessemer Road, Birmingham, Alabama, 35208. I'm a local supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement. I came to address the council about an incident that happened on April 15, 2015 in front of the Birmingham City headquarters where we was ordered to be arrested on behest of the Chief of Police, Chief Roper. To the President, to the council, I would have hoped that the mayor would have been here to hear this also. Let me begin by first saying that we stand in full support of, we as Black Lives Matter movement stand in full support and unity with the protesters in Baltimore and around the world in our stance against injustice for black people and the total disenfranchisement of too many of our people. Let me also say this before we start. I would like to invoke the name of one of our most honored ancestors and beloved ancestors, Dr. Martin Luther King. We call on your spirit, Mr. King, to be here today in this chamber to be a witness, to bring to our consciousness a reminder of the responsibility we have to honor the sacrifice you and millions of more Americans have historically made, that such a day as this can be made possible. As a direct result of your leadership and your sacrifice, today we have a black mayor in a city once dubbed Birmingham, Alabama. We have a majority black city council. We have a black chief of police in the place of what was once Bill Connor. It is under this backdrop, council, that it is made possible that me may stand before you as elected officials in 2014, 2015. Now, cutting to the chase, I had more to say than I'm gonna say because time is not gonna allow. But on the 15th, we demonstrated a peaceful protest, as we have been doing all around the city. We have had absolutely no incidents of violence, and we have been facilitated. On this particular day, we exercised our constitutional right to protest. And the mayor, initially the police department facilitated that. They blocked the redirected traffic to make sure that we were safe and to make sure that our constitutional right was protected. Upon the order of Chief Roper, per his lieutenant, he directly told them to stop blocking the traffic and to allow the traffic to come through and to arrest us for exercising our First Amendment right to protest. In Birmingham, Alabama, in 2015. I think that's a shame. Everybody should be outraged. It is through protest that everybody who is in this chamber is able to be in this chamber. And for our own mayor, our own police chief to order that the facilitation that was set up to be removed and then to have us arrested for disorderly conduct, I think that is something that he needs to be reprimanded about, and that reprimand need to be a public reprimand and not a secret reprimand, and it need to be dealt with expeditiously. And with that, me not having any more time, I guess I will address the council on other matters later, but that, I conclude.
Thank you. That concludes our speakers. We have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
This meeting is adjourned.